Hey, this is no dream. This is Bucs Sunday, and the future starts today at home against the 49ers. You want to know how this is going to play out? Stay where you are. This is not a test. This is Bucs Sunday.
The Bucs kick it off against the 49ers in 4.5 hours, and Tony Dungy says he's looking to make the playoffs. Anything else is a disappointment. Good morning and welcome to Bucs Sunday. We're kicking off another 16 weeks, and maybe if Dungy is right, following the Bucs right into the playoffs. Now, like the Bucs, the 49ers went 1-3 in the preseason, but unlike the Bucs, San Francisco's made the playoffs 12 out of the last 13 years. That's nearly the same stretch the Bucs have been waiting to make the playoffs. We are packed in the next 30 minutes. Coming up, Rich McKay joins us live. We go one-on-one with Trent Dilfer, and Frank Robertson joins us to take a look at today's matchup between the lines. But first, let's take a look at the status report. It's the absolute latest on who is doing what with kickoff about 4 hours away. First, Paul Gruber will play. He's been out with tendonitis in his shoulder, so this will be the first game that Tony Dungy will have his entire first string together in the offensive line. Horace Copeland is still questionable. Rich McKay says he's 60-40. He may play. He will hit the field in about 90 minutes for some hard running to see if he can go with a pulled hamstring. If he can't, Riedel Anthony will start with Carl Williams on the other side. And John Lynch is questionable with a right foot injury, and he'll test it out on the turf before making a decision on whether he goes or not. You can look for him to go, though. The game will not be on television this afternoon, but a crowd of 70,000 is expected, and ticket sales have been hot all week. Now, the Bucs already got a boost before they kick it off against the Niners this afternoon. For the first time, there are no off-the-field problems or controversies swirling around this franchise. The stadium issue is settled, the coach's job security, and the new owners say they are committed. It's been a roller coaster ride, but it's finally settling down.
As owner of the Buccaneers, Malcolm Glazer
I have the goal.
and sons Brian and Joel have not had easy sailing.
Well, if I were Captain, I'd lay a plan. One.
In order to remain in Tampa, they wanted a new stadium. Besides providing revenue needed for the Bucs, the new stadium would allow Tampa to host the Super Bowl in the year 2001.
Two.
Find a coach that the players respect.
Here, some of you men, follow me.
Winning 5 of their last 7 games in his first year, Tony Dungy has everyone feeling positive about the upcoming season.
3.
Keep the experienced veterans and build through the draft to put a winner on the field.
I want men with iron in their blood and steel in their sinews.
For the second year in a row, NFL draft experts agree the Bucs have made excellent draft selections and are heading in the right direction with scoring machines running back Warrick Dunn,
Neither man nor devil shall stop me.
wide receiver Riedel Anthony, and offensive giant Jerry Wunsch prove the Bucs are looking to put more points on the offensive board. Pro Bowl linebacker and team leader Hardy Nickerson,
Man the gun!
along with quarterback Trent Dilfer
Fire!
and defensive lineman Paul Gruber, bring experience and dedication to this young team.
We'll aim! We'll close for the killing and border.
Recent drafts have produced other first-year players that made their mark, like Warren Sapp, Reagan Upshaw, and Donnie Abraham. During last season, standout all-purpose running back Mike Allstott
People have such an awkward habit of getting in my way.
received Rookie of the Month honors from the NFL. It's no surprise these Bucs look different. Even the uniforms have been changed to reflect the new feelings that players share. There's no mutiny here. The fans have done their part. The team will remain in Tampa for many years, thanks to local politicians and voters for the community investment tax. Unveiling of the team's new logo design and uniforms generated more merchandise sales in 2 days than all of last year.
I can hardly believe my eyes.
All this excitement has driven season ticket sales far beyond last year's numbers. As we look forward to this season, the Bucs can finally say,
it's time to move on, time to move forward, and let's keep the focus on the field.
You make it sound real appetizing.
Don't miss what's sure to be an exciting season of NFL action on Fox 13 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers raise the flag and begin their attack on NFL teams.
All right, now the man waving that flag, Tony Dungy, is now a second-year head coach, 1 year older, and he says a lot wiser. Dungy's a man who chooses his words carefully. He says what he believes, and I hit him with a lot of questions, starting with coming in with a year of experience as a head coach.
I think we've learned a lot more about our players, what we can and can't do with them. I think they've learned us, and I've learned that it was a long year, you know, and you can't worry about the first game or the second game necessarily and thinking that that's going to be the end-all to the season. You've got to put a 16-game season together and be strong at the end of the year. Warrick is really going to help us a lot. He brings a dimension that we really haven't had, a guy who can catch the ball and make big plays from out of the backfield. Riddell Anthony gives us a little bit more speed. Now to go along with more of the bruising style that we had with Rhett and Allstott last year and having Eric all camp, I think it's going to be good for our offense, and that all should help Trent. But we expect to be a playoff team. I'll be disappointed if we're not in the playoffs. I think we have that type of talent. We've got a rough first month of the year with 2 home games against very good teams, San Francisco and Miami, and then 2 tough division games on the road. But somehow we've got to break even and split that slate, and if we do that, I think we're on our way to a great year. They've been in big ball games. All the rest of the guys that we have been in, you know, in the league and have played against good people before. So I think it'll be good to have a big crowd out there playing against the Niners. I think we'll be ready to go.
Be over 70,000 out there this afternoon. All right, just ahead on Bucs Sunday, Frank Robertson takes a look between the lines, telling us exactly what needs to happen this afternoon for a Buccaneer win. And the always candid Rich McKay joins me live in the studio, and we'll hit him on everything from Dilfer to Dunn. It's just ahead on Bucs Sunday.
As we take stock of the death last night, tragic and horrible as it was, of the Princess of Wales, Diana, who was killed in a car crash along with her boyfriend companion, Dodi El Fayed, and their chauffeur. A bodyguard survived the initial crash. They were killed apparently after a pursuit by the paparazzi, the French photographers who were so aggressive in Europe. The photographers were chasing them at a high rate of speed. The black Mercedes that Princess Diana was in crashed into a center divider of a tunnel in Paris, the tunnel that crosses the Seine River. She was killed apparently instantly, but was pronounced dead at 1 a.m. this morning after doctors tried valiantly for 2 hours to massage her heart. We'll have continuing coverage throughout the day on Fox 13 of the death of Princess Diana.
Before we put the Excite NASCAR Select...
Field is painted, ready to go. Kickoff at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Houlihan Stadium, and welcome back to Bucs Sunday. And check this out. How about this for a stat? Head coaches have made their NFL debut 3 times against the Bucs, and Tampa Bay has won every single time, and they would love to do it again against Steve Mariucci. But, Frank, the odds makers aren't giving the Bucs a lot of respect. San Francisco comes in as 6.5-point favorites and with about 9 Pro Bowlers on the defensive side of football.
It.
Yeah,
Mariucci's new, but the rest of the guys, they've been there for a while. And, you know, the mere mentionship of the San Francisco 49ers conjures up images of Steve Young throw to Jerry Rice for 6 over and over again. But the 5-time Super Bowl champions bring a lot more to the table than a potent passing attack. As we go between the lines, we see, in fact, the 49er defense is just loaded with all pros. For the Bucs, the challenge is stop and go.
Few people would disagree. The San Francisco 49ers look like anything but the winningest team of the 90s in the preseason. Like the Bucs, they finished an unimpressive 1-3. If there's an Achilles heel, it appears to be an aging and injury-riddled offensive line.
They have some holes, especially at center. They've been having some problems. Guys fumbling snaps and not blocking very well. They've reacquired Jesse Sapolu, who he had open heart surgery this past offseason. So, you know, I don't know if how strong he'll be, especially for our game.
Which could compromise Steve Young's effectiveness. San Francisco gave up 42 sacks last year, and the trend continued in the preseason.
Yeah, he's been sacked quite a bit. I mean, I looked on the thing, and I think it was like 15, 16 sacks in preseason. I mean, that's a lot. But, I mean, their offensive line is going to come together and do a pretty good job, and he's still elusive as ever, so we got to still do our job.
For lest we forget, this is still the team that boasts the second leading touchdown combination of all time. Young to Rice has found the end zone 74 times. And that's not all.
Brent Jones is going to be back, and you know, he's a quality tight end. They've got running backs. The receivers on the other side. I think Terrell Owens played a little bit in the last game. So they've got a lot of good people, but obviously, you know, Rice has got, whatever, 150 touchdowns. You got to be aware of where he is.
But the 49ers are just as formidable on the other side of the ball. The San Francisco defense reads like a Pro Bowl roster.
The strength of their defense really is their interior defensive line. They got two Pro Bowl caliber defensive tackles, good speed on the outside, and good solid linebacking core. So they've been tough to run against year in, year out, and you know, it's going to be a big challenge for our offensive line.
A task that may prove a little more difficult with the addition of former Carolina linebacker Kevin Green. The 49ers now have last year's sack leader.
I'd expect to see him on some third downs, and he's a very good football player that you have to take care of. But they have a lot of good football players. You know, we did the thing this morning, we list how many All-Pros they have on defense. They have 7 All-Pros on defense, so now they have 8.
A stiff challenge for a Buccaneer offense that struggled during the preseason, especially finding the end zone. Tampa Bay will be looking for big production out of its trio of running backs, Warrick, Dunn, and Alstott.
We're not trying to be secretive about anything. We're gonna take our 3 backs, and we're gonna try to pound it down your throat.
And the sight of big number 40 bulldozing through that 49er defense would be very welcome at Houlihan Stadium this afternoon.
Which brings to mind, Chip, that only a couple years ago, Warrick Dunn was our threat at running back. Right. Now you got a trio of running backs, all of whom bring a different dimension to the game, the bruising style of Alstott, an inside runner like Warrick Dunn, and of course Warrick Dunn go inside, outside, and catch the ball. And you like all of those aspects.
You and I all week have been talking about momentum, not only in the game but also in the season. If the Bucs get off well against San Francisco, that could push for a win, and they can't go 0-5 again. If this team gets in the habit of winning now, that'll be a catalyst.
Well, and the thing I don't want to see happen this afternoon is for the Bucs to get behind early,
right,
because in the past that doesn't bode well for us. And I think for the Bucs to be successful in this game, it's got to be fairly low scoring.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, thanks, Frank. We'll see you out there. You know, there will be 70,000 plus in the stadium this afternoon, and that is a sign of the optimism behind the team. Fans are literally putting their money behind this team. Armored trucks are making the run all week from the Buck ticket office to the bank. This team has sold more tickets this season before the first kickoff than they did the entire last year. Over 330,000 tickets have been sold, and that number just keeps rising, which puts a smile on the face of Buccaneer GM Rich McKay. It sure does. And it's time to hear from the top. And really, Rich, tickets are just one of the questions. But obviously, with fans opening up their wallets like that, that's the best signal you can get that things are kind of going your way in terms of momentum.
Well, as you said at the opening of the show, I mean, obviously all the distractions that we faced and all of the issues that this franchise has gone through the last 5 years has caused the fans to focus on other things other than football and the football team. I think we finally got those behind us, and we finally created a little atmosphere of winning, and hopefully that'll bring them to the stadium.
Let's get into the X's and O's, obviously. Dilfer didn't throw an interception in the preseason, but he threw only 1 touchdown pass, and the passing game averaged about 120 yards a game. You can't just hit the remote and suddenly turn it on.
No, but I tell you what happened in the preseason. Dilfer didn't get a lot of snaps. You know, we played 2 games where I think one game he got about 12 snaps, and the other game he got about 21 snaps. So really, he didn't play that much. We felt pretty good with the preseason he had. He practiced well. He did some good things in some games. Didn't make a lot of big plays, but I'm not sure we gave him a lot of opportunities to make big plays. I think Trent's ready to go.
That's what I was going to ask you. In terms of preseason, where you don't want to give that much away, did you rein him in a little bit, kind of constrict what he could do offensively, not to show your hand too much or not?
You know, I hear that a lot. We're not going to show the opponents what we're going to do and so forth. But I think more than anything, it was just a number of snaps and what we were trying to get done. Plus, also, we didn't play with our offensive line very much. So I think we did get a little conservative in making sure we didn't put Trent in situations where he was going to get killed.
Right, yeah, because obviously with the injuries and everything, you had some holes there through the 4 preseason games. All right. Will Warrick Dunn accept more of a role as a, not a possession running back, but in terms of just as a role player with the offense?
I think he will. I think Warrick understands that he's got to get his career back on track. He had a very nice preseason. He's in good shape. He made some nice runs in the preseason, but obviously he understands that now we've got Mike Allstott, who's going to carry the ball a lot, and we've got Warrick Dunn, who's going to carry the ball. So Eric's got to find his niche, and he's got to accept it. I think he will.
Does he mind sharing the ball with running responsibilities with Allstott and Dunn right now?
Eric Redd is a running back. He's sure he minds sharing the ball. He would like to get the ball himself, but I think Eric is smart enough to understand these are good running backs, and these guys can do good things with the ball. So I don't think that'll be a problem as the year goes forward.
Which leads us right into Warrick Dunn. We've got to touch on him because he led all running backs in all rushing categories in the preseason.
Pretty good football player.
Yeah.
Warrick Dunn is a little bit like lightning in a bottle. I mean, he just seems to make things happen when he touches the ball. We went into the draft saying that we needed to get big plays, and our #1 desire was to get Warrick Dunn. We're happy with where he is and with what he can bring to the team.
And what he does bring is something that Eric Redd and Allstott don't have, is speed, just getting to the holes. I mean, you don't have to open up much of an opening for Dunn to already be there and gone.
Well, he's a creative type running back. I mean, the Barry Sanders type running back. A lot of times he will see a hole but might not decide to take that hole. He may take another one. His quickness is his #1 asset, along with his vision. He seems to see things that you and I would not see.
I mean, running-wise, in terms of everybody knows that's what you're going to try and do against San Francisco this afternoon. Is that the key for you guys winning this year, is to be able to stuff it down teams' throat?
I think we said early on that the key to us is how the offensive line does early and whether we can run the football. We have to run the football to be effective, and obviously we're gonna try.
The legal status of Warren Sapp, where does it stand right now? And then how does the league look at the whole thing in terms of them coming in later with their own maybe suspension or ruling?
Well, Warren has had a couple hearings on the matter. Obviously, it's not a positive thing in the sense that nobody wants to be in the papers or on TV about issues such as this. I think that situation will resolve itself, and I don't see that being a problem for Warren Sapp. I think he accepts responsibility for the fact that it shouldn't have transpired, but I don't see it being a problem for him on the football field.
Why did you make a move for Kevin Green? Or did you make a move for Kevin Green?
No, we didn't make a move for Kevin Green. Kevin Green is a guy that has been very successful in a scheme. I mean, he is a very productive pass rusher. For us, there wasn't a fit there. He was more of a fit for certain teams. In Kevin Green's mind, San Francisco is a good fit for him. I mean, he obviously is a very effective football player, but for us, it wasn't a scheme thing where he was going to fit with what we're trying to do.
How effective do you think he'll be with? I mean, he hasn't had any preseason, hardly any practice. What can he do this afternoon?
He can do a lot, because what they'll do is they'll just bring him in at spots. I don't expect to see him lining up first down every down. I expect him to come in and try to create mismatches. What Kevin does very well is when he gets lined up on that back, one-on-one, I think that back's in for a long afternoon.
All right, Rich, we'll see you out at the stadium. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
The team, the man in the spotlight is Trent Dilfer. The team is literally riding on his shoulders, and I sat down with him for a one-on-one interview that covers everything from pressure to progress, and it's next on Bucs Sunday. Under construction to pack the new place. All this team simply has to do is win in the old place, and they're going to get that started this afternoon when they kick it off against San Francisco at 4 o'clock. Every week on Bucs Sunday we have a segment called Behind the Mask. Players take off the helmet, get out of the uniform for a one-on-one conversation. We start the season with a player that will make or break the Bucs season, quarterback Trent Dilfer. And as we go behind the mask, Trent tells me he feels better about this year, this team, than ever.
I'm very excited. I think this is the most I've ever anticipated a football year in my life. I have a lot more fun playing now, and because of that, I'm looking forward to going out there game day and having a blast.
Do you feel the most comfortable that you've felt so far in your career?
Absolutely. I think a lot of that has to do with my attitude. I'm taking a new attitude, just going out there and try to be the best player that Trent Dilfer can be, and in the meantime have a great time doing it. So I think it frees you up from a lot of the distractions, a lot of the trivia that goes along with playing the position, and lets you go play.
Everybody's talking about the potential of this team, and it's got plenty of it. You got some great offensive weapons. Copeland's down with a hamstring right now, but in terms of touchdown production, obviously it's not as simple as switching a switch on, but is that your biggest concern going into the first game, that you just weren't able to put it in the end zone as much as you wanted it to?
Yeah, that was my greatest concern, is that we didn't score as many points as we would like in the preseason, but I think it comes down to execution. You can have the greatest players in the world, you can line up an all-pro football team, and if you don't execute, you're not going to score. So we feel good that we scored touchdowns within the last year, and we did it by executing. If we can execute as well as we did, or even better than we did in the last year, now we have more talent on the field that should result in more touchdowns. So, it's a nice problem to have, I guess, having too many people out there.
Isn't preseason overrated too, Trent, that way? I mean, when you look at a team like San Francisco, they got blistered by Denver. Denver, the last preseason game of the year. You know they're not going to come in and be like that.
To a certain degree, I think it does show some major things, otherwise we wouldn't watch the film. For us, we wanted to execute, and we didn't a lot of times, so there's no way to get around that. I don't think you show everything, but at the same time, this is the NFL. Guys don't just decide when and when not to turn it on. They turn it on every time they're on the football field, and you look at things like that. I think San Francisco, you know, will come in here and play somewhat like they did in preseason. We will play somewhat like we did in preseason. Hopefully, both teams will play better than that.
Does the game just come down to breaks at this level?
You know, I thought about that. I think in some games it does. I think a lot of times you can make your breaks with execution. I think if you execute every play like it's supposed to be executed, defensively, offensively, and the special teams, it's really hard to lose. And then on top of that, if you get some breaks and get some plays your way, now that's when you win big.
Big question for me, actually, is I picked you for my fantasy team. I am with you all year, buddy. What do you think?
You know, that is probably the most asked question I get these days is, how are you going to be as fantasy football this year? Who should I pick? I can't believe how big it is. I never even knew it was that big. I think I'll be a good pick this year. I think, you know, there's guys, obviously, they're going to have better statistical years because they're in offenses that throw the ball more or whatnot, but I think I'm a pretty solid pick.
All right, that's what Dilfer has to say. The question is now, what do the fans think? And we take the microphone to the street. Coming up next on Bucs Sunday. Plus, Frank and I have the keys to victory, what the Bucs need to do to win this afternoon. And we are back live on Bucs Sunday. You know, football is a game of numbers, but the only one that really matters is the number teams have under the W, the win column at the end of the season. This year, the Bucs start the season as one of the youngest teams in the league. There are 14 players in this roster who are not on the team last year. They've got new uniforms, a new attitude, but what do the fans think? We took the microphone into the street.
Okay, all you sports prognosticators, give us your predictions for the Bucs-Niners game.
Probably, I'd say 27 to about 18.
Niners?
Niners, yeah. The Bucs win by 3.
Unfortunately, I think the Niners are too good right now for the Bucs offense. Defense will hold their own. I think Niners 20-10.
Odds are against the Bucs winning. They're 6.5-point underdogs. But nobody is predicting a complete blowout.
I just hope it's close. I really don't expect them to win, but I like to just see them stay in the game and play well.
In fact, most Bucs fans have pinpointed a key weak spot that needs correcting, if at all possible, before kickoff. And no, it's not him.
Well, it's all going to depend on the offensive line. If those guys pick it up, I think we're going to have a pretty good chance.
A good chance to win it all, maybe?
If they get lucky, they could be a wild card team and maybe meet Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl.
You see, it's that type of optimism that has caused long lines to form at Houlihan Stadium's ticket window all week. And naysayers are not welcome.
If you're picking a loser for the Bucs, you shouldn't be in line to buy tickets. Bucs, definitely.
Karen Mays, Fox 13 Sports.
All right, we're closing in on Fox's NFL Sunday, but before we kick it out to Hollywood, we got to take a look at what the Bucs have to do to have a shot at winning this afternoon. Trent Dilfer is going into his 3rd season as a starter, and he has more tools to work with this year than ever before. So, my key to the game, obviously, he's just got to use those tools and not make a mistake. He went through the preseason without interception, but he's taken on a Niner defense that held teams to under 300 total yards a game, Frank. So no mistakes from Dilfer.
Absolutely not. And, Chip, I think the strength of the Buccaneer offense at this point in the season certainly is the running game. They have to establish that running game with Dunn, and, of course, Eric Rett. And if you do that, then you have time of possession, and that could be the key to possibly upsetting the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, keep Steve Young and company off the field.
They can't hurt you there.
Keep the West Coast on the sideline.
On the sideline.
All right, kickoff is at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Houlihan Stadium, but don't go anywhere. We're throwing it right out to Hollywood to James Brown and company, and that leads right into our 1 o'clock game with Pittsburgh taking on Dallas. So settle back and get ready for some football. We'll see you next week.
is a Fox Sports presentation.
Sunday afternoon, that sweet-sounding music, and of course, some good old-fashioned football. Pigskin's back, baby, and the Fanatics are freaking. So, you got that animal instinct? Yeah! Well, then let's get jacked for opening day in the NFL.
Where else would you rather be?
It's Kickoff 97 on Fox.
This is a new season. It all starts again today.
Now you're talking. The big day begins with the boys, the Steelers, and the meltdown in Pitt Town.
You can't get up for this game. You don't need to be here.
You want talent? You want history? Well, we got you. Then Smash Mouth football arrives in an NFC East brouhaha.
Go home field. They're business.
New York's feud with Fossil and some fresh little giants. But lately, the Green Men own the G-Men. The new Georgia governor leads his flying bounce to Motown, where Bobby's giving Barry a pullback for their 2 back attacks.
Take it to another level. 1, 2, 3.
A loftier level is what the Vikings vie for in Buffalo. The Purple People Eaters are starving.
Big dogs got eat.
But the Bills ain't exactly meat with big old Bruce. 2 coaching legends square off in St. Louis as Ditka's Saints take on Vermeil's youthful Rams. The Cards and Cats collide in Ohio. Zona zones in on respect.
He hit you in the face, you hit him in the throat.
All those big bad felines could be clawing to the top. Later, the Bucs battle the Niners by the bay.
No matter what they throw at you, keep fighting.
And by the way, if you think San Fran's no longer fearsome, try this one on. Rice, Young, Woodson, and now Green.
This one over, baby. This one over.
Hey, relax. The day's just beginning. Now, live from the Fox Television Center in Hollywood, 4 opening day veterans are set for Kickoff 97. It's the one and only NFL on Fox.
And indeed it is Kickoff 97 as we welcome you to the Fox Television Center here in Hollywood as Fox Sports begins its 4th year of televising the NFL. Today you'll see one of 7 games highlighted by a rematch of Super Bowl 30, the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And hello everyone, I'm James Brown and thank you for joining us for the opening Sunday of action right here on Fox. And here to bring you the insight and perspective you seek, the owners of a total of 9 Super Bowl rings from right to left, Ronnie Lott, Howie Long, and Terry Bradshaw. And only fitting that you give us a State of the Show address.
I got butterflies. Everybody has butterflies. The start of a new year, our 4th year together, the 3 of us, RL's 2nd year with us. Tell you, to be in the presence of greatness, it lifts me to heights I've never thought I could ever get.
Whenever you get the butterflies, when I was playing, you hit one another.
We're not going to do the hitting part. We're not doing the hitting part. I do want to say one thing. Of all the sports analysts out there in America covering sports this year, my man Howie Long won an Emmy. I'm so proud. And you know, he called me on the phone and goes,
Stadium, the big upset win by the Buccaneers, and I don't know if it was an upset. They played great. A splendid defensive effort was led by Bucs defensive lineman Warren Sapp. He led the team to his 2nd best sack output performance in franchise history. Plus, he snuffed out every trick that the 40s tonight. Now, the list of positives is long and very impressive. The famous 49ers held without a touchdown for the first time in 6 years. A smothering defense, creative play calling, and examples of superb execution in every phase of the game. Let's go to the video tape. We'll pick it up. Warren Sapp sets the tone for the game, chasing down Young. Young would be out. We don't want to see anybody hurt. Would be out for most of the game. Did come back, though. Gary Anderson kicked the field goal, his 2nd of the game. That put the Niners up 6-0. Bucs driving. Dilfer. Perfect pass to Jackie Harris. But it bounced out of his hands, and Marquise Pope picks it up. Bucs down 6-0 at the half. Moving on to the 3rd. Dilfer. Nice play fake. Unloads a bomb. It lands in Carl Williams' hand, who makes the catch. 60-yard gain, setting up a scoring opportunity. Mistakes by the Bucs, though. Bucs on the San Francisco 5-yard line. They hand the ball to rookie tight end Patrick Haight. He fumbles, squandering a great opportunity. The old Bucs would have folded, but the Bucs got on the board. Michael Husted kicks a field goal later. That cut the lead to 6-3. Allstott, Mike Allstott, takes the pass. Turns it into another big play. He made several on the day. same drive. Trent Dilfer again, finding the trusty, dependable all-star, bangs his way down to the 1-yard line. Dilfer with the play action. This is pay dirt. He finds the tight end, young Dave Moore, for the first touchdown of the season. Bucs on top 10-6. Bucs defense coming up big, too, in the contest. The great Steve Young. Or should I say the great young Tyrone Leggett picking off Steve Young. Warrick Dunn had his day also. Look at him work. Look at him cut. Working inside for 19 yards. And that set up a 34-yard field goal by Michael Hustad to make it 13-6. Brad Culpepper and the defense. A little finishing touch. Finishing touch. Culpepper power slams him. Bucs win 13-6. And watch Hardy Nickerson and William Floyd. See him like put a finger in his face. But the scoreboard is what counts.
Well, I guess people are probably still disappointed our offense isn't scoring enough points. I was so proud of these guys because we hung in and we battled some adversity. San Francisco had some adversity too, losing a couple of their big guns. But this is the type of football team we have, the type of team we're trying to develop, that you just play hard for 60 minutes. I thought our defense was very good today. I'm pretty excited, but to be honest, I really expected to win. You know, we're playing well at home, and I felt that for the first time we'd be healthy. You know, the first time all year we had all our parts intact, and I felt we'd play good defense, and you know, I think our team felt like we'd win. So I'm excited, and I'm glad we won, but again, I guess maybe I'm looking to next week.
Now, the Bucs historically field a strong defense, but today's effort will send the next opponent, the Detroit Lions, back to the chalkboard. It was intimidating in that Warren Sapp put 2 Hall of Famers out of the game on the way to the defense, allowing the Niners' offensive machine just 191 total yards. Going to the videotape, we'll pick it up. Steve Young, sacked, 11-yard loss. Knocked out to the 4th quarter. We hope he's okay. He did come back. It led to a punt. Jerry Rice, end around. Snuffed, stuffed by Warren Sapp. Loss of 11. Rice hurt, leaves the game. The next quarterback to come in, sacked by Sapp and Culpepper, loss of 10. Held San Francisco to just a field goal. 4th quarter, Sapp. Chasing down Steve Young, vertical diving, sacks him again. 2.5 sacks for the guy. Sapp put on a show.
We've been telling you guys all through preseason when we face adverse situations, we're learning from our mistakes. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're learning. You know, you hear you guys say, we've been hearing that 14 years. And, you know, we come out here today and we just band together as a whole unit. And that's what it's going to take for us each week, because we don't have no superstars on this team that are just going to go out and just win the game by itself. We have to band together as 11 guys on each side of the ball and just go out there and get it done. And, I mean, once we got that little scrimmage down there, I mean, I just told the guys, let's just hang together, because they can't break us. I mean, it was out there cheap shotting and everything. They couldn't beat us in between the Wilson. We knew that, so the only thing we had to do was just go out there and get it done. And here we go, 1-0, baby. A lot of guys had a good game. I mean, you guys just keep pushing it all on me, but I'm going to keep pushing it on Reagan and CD and, you know, Pep and all the guys that work so hard with me, because without them guys, I mean, I'm nothing. I mean, they just give me energy. Sometimes they look at me and I'm down a little bit, and they say, what are you doing? You know, and I'm like, okay, here we go then. Let's go.
Boy, what a great guy. Mike Allstott is the best player on the team. He is the most consistent. And the video of his runs and blocking will send chills up the spine of defensive players to come. Going to the videotape, Mike up the middle, 35 yards. He breaks, cuts, runs, stiff arm, pushes people out of the way. Led to a 32-yard field goal by Mike Lustad. Dilfer with the dump pass. Look the way he runs. Low center of gravity, short legs, big, strong body, runs through people. Mike Allstott put on a show. He is the defensive and offensive, that is, leader. Will play special teams. Will do whatever it takes to win. Let's hear from Mike.
We won, but we didn't play a perfect game.
But you overcame the mistakes.
Right. And I think a team that's going to get over the hill needs to overcome the mistakes and keep their poise, and playing a tough team like San Francisco, play hard and not give up and run the clock out like we did, and then our defense come in there and get 2 sacks on 46 seconds. I mean, everything went well, went to our advantage. But again, we believed in ourselves and we're happy with the win. and we believed we could do it. We always did. And everybody else might be shocked, but we're just confident in ourselves that we're not going to lose in our house. Now we just got to prove it on the road.
And finally to Trent Dilfer, decisive, confident, as if his teammates had held on to a couple of his passes, his stats would better indicate his effort today. Not a single bad decision, just solid execution of the game plan. Let's go to the second quarter. Dilfer. Forced out of the pocket. Oh, he goes the other direction. Downfield, finds Carl the Truth Williams on the sideline, 16-yard gain. Dilfer. Dilfer this time. To Jackie Harris. That's a perfect throw. You know, if Harris had held on to that ball, his stats would be better. But once again, it's the throw and the decision-making so impressive. Third quarter, this is a long first down. You saw this earlier to Carl Williams. But look, I'd like to see it a little bit, you know, maybe throw it a little bit earlier so that Carl could still be running, but not a single mistake by Trent. Let's hear from Trent.
Comes down to poise, composure, confidence, toughness, and this team really had the intangibles today. It doesn't help that we had 99 on our side too, and the defense playing great and doing some phenomenal things, but ultimately what won this football game for us was poise.
Well, it's time for a timeout, but when we return, I go to the big board and diagram the play that put the Bucs on top. And John Peterson looks at a couple of big plays, one that could have spelled disaster, another that led to victory. All that and highlights from around the league when Sunday Sports Extra continues. Coach's Corner. The 1991 season was the last time the great 49ers played a game without a touchdown. Well, I'll tell you what, that really shows how impressive the defensive performance by the Bucs today. The first touchdown of the season for Tampa Bay was the only touchdown scored in this game. Let's take a closer look at the videotape. This is the play from Trent Dilfer to Moore. Now, you see the setup. This is Moore right here. Now, he is lining up as if he's simply going to block. When they start the play, let's start the play, guys. You see Moore sliding into position, and just as he makes contact with the linebacker right here, let's freeze it, he's coming up to this linebacker right in front of him. Now, the fake part of it is that he will act as if he's going to block. He'll stay there. That takes a lot of confidence and a lot of poise for the player. While the Bucs offense executes the play fake, now let's roll it a little bit further. See, there is the block as he makes contact. Keep rolling. You see how long he stays? Now, he's going out for a pass, remember. All right, now, freeze it right there. Now, back here, you see that Trent Dilfer has executed the play fake on the inside, and that brings all of the linebackers and defensive backs running up as if they are about to make the tackle. Lo and behold, as we roll it, Moore will release the block, slip out into the flat. Trent, all he has to do is to move around just a little bit, just enough to find Moore standing all along, and make the nice, easy look. Trying to recognize, but it's too late. Trying to recognize, but it's too late. Touchdown for the Buccaneers. Trying to recognize, but it's too late. The guys are laughing about that. All right, there were two huge goal line plays in this game. One could have cost the Bucs the game. The other secured the victory. John Peterson breaks it down.
It could have been the ultimate disaster. 5 minutes left, third quarter. Bucs down 6-zip, threatening to take the lead. Rookie tight end Patrick Hape inserted at fullback to block only. To everyone's surprise, he gets the football, fumbles. Niners recover, a tactical blunder of epic proportions.
We just all blew it. Wrong personnel. Ultimately, I'll take the blame because the quarterback has to know who's on the field at all times. As soon as I handed the ball off, I went, oh my gosh, I just handed it to Patrick. And but not that Patrick can't do it, it's just we've never practiced that, ever. He's never once taken that play in practice.
But this time when adversity hit, the Bucs hit back. Next goal line situation, under 10 to play, Bucs down 6-3. The first down plunge sets up the second down score. Great play action, tight end Dave Moore breaks to the corner, and the Bucs take the lead for good. Now, the key to this scoring play, you got to be a great actor. Dave's got to sell the defender inside on the running play and then break out for the score. Timing is everything. Do you have to be kind of an actor on that play?
More than anything, you just have to be patient. You know, I have to sell the run and just wait. And
and hope that guy bites.
Friday night, Dave and Scott, myself, and Steve Walsh, and Allstott and Jerry Walsh went out, and we were bugging Dave about it. We're like, Dave, take your time on this play, take your time. And he took it to a total extreme. He took so long, I started to panic, and it actually worked out very well.
Timing is everything, and this time, the Bucs are 1-0. John Peterson, UPN 44, Sunday Sports Extra.
Thank you, John. It's time for timeout number 2 in the Big Show. When we return, we'll take you around the NFL and get you caught up on the teams joining the Bucs in the winner's circle on Week 1 in the National Football League.
Debut for the Niners, and business as usual. Steve Young, Jerry Rice, 13 yards, 176 straight games, which Rice has at least one catch. But 3 plays later, 3rd and 2. Warren Sapp had a huge game. Chases Young out of the pocket. Hardy Nickerson knees Young unintentionally in the head. Watch this. There's another look, Tommy. Just looks scary.
Yeah, outstanding speed by Warren Sapp shown, though, all day. Running down quarterbacks, making hits on Jerry Rice.
Young had to leave, and Mariucci had to go to. They did not plan this at all in first half of Week 1. Jeff Fromm from Louisville. 49ers run the reverse for Jerry Rice, and it's Warren Sapp, and Sapp is taking out the whole team. Takes him down by the face mask. But don't watch that. Watch Jerry's left knee. Out for the game on the sidelines in civilian clothes. Warren Sapp. Oh, my goodness. What a hurt he laid on the Niners. Meanwhile, Trent Dilfer to Carl the Truth Williams. 55 yards down to the 20. But 4 plays later, rookie Patrick Hayes, very Bucs-like, fumbles the football on the 1-yard line. Tony Dungy says, wait, we're trying to get rid of all that. Still 6-0 Niners. Trent Dilfer, 4th quarter, play action, and Dave Moore. The Bucs would take the field goal earlier, now lead at 10-6. With the game on the line, Steve Young. We'd seen him come back before. Jerry Rice could not. Young on the field. Second half. Pressure. Rufus Porter, the former Seahawk Pro Bowler, nails it. 3rd, next down. 3rd and 8. Young. It's Warren Sapp again. Sacks him. Warren Sapp had 2.5 sacks, 11 tackles. The Bucs attacked the 49er quarterback 7 times. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe they'll start to sell tickets now down there. The Buccaneers beat the 49ers by the count of 13-6. The Niners' lowest point total since November of 1991. Chiefs and Broncos.
Last 5 straight to Detroit, and their last win in a dome was back in November of '94 in Minneapolis. So the numbers say this team is overdue for a win on carpet. Now this morning on Bucs Sunday, we go one-on-one with Warren Sapp and take a look at some of the money moves the Glazers are making. But first, let's hook up with Frank, who is putting the X's and O's on this game. Frank?
Well, Chip, there is a lot more to beating the Detroit Lions than containing one Barry Sanders. Detroit has some outstanding players on both sides of the ball. In fact, last week it was really the defense that beat the Atlanta Falcons. What kind of problems does Detroit pose for Trent Dilfer and the Buc offense? And what does the Tampa Bay defense have to do to keep Sanders from breaking one for the distance? We'll go between the lines in just a few minutes on Bucs Sunday. Chip?
All right, buddy. See you in just a few minutes. With about 90 minutes before kickoff, let's take a look at the status report. It gives us the latest update on who is doing what with kickoff around the corner. Horace Copeland is back in the lineup. He missed last week with a pulled hamstring, and the Bucs need Horace back because Carl Williams is probable right now. He's got a bad thigh bruise in practice this week, and he won't be at 100% this afternoon. Herman Moore for Detroit, though, will play, and he's got leg problems. He was held out of practice most of this week with internal bleeding in his thigh. Maybe the biggest play all week in practice was the change of direction Eric Rhett made from Monday to Wednesday. Now, Rhett didn't play it down against San Francisco. In fact, he never got off the bench, and on Monday he was frustrated, unhappy. It didn't hold back letting everyone know about it. Wednesday, he was playing a role in the offense, but it was the role of Barry Sanders on the scout team. But listen to his attitude change.
It doesn't matter to me. They know I play whatever position they want me to play. I mean, I've always been a player like that. Whatever they want me to play. Want to play quarterback, DB, whatever they want me to do.
Now, John Lynch has had a big role in the defense the last 4 years, and he's now getting a paycheck to prove it. He signed a 4-year, $7 million deal this week, and Rich McKay says it's the Glazer philosophy. Keep the drafted talent in Tampa with market-valued contracts, and you know Lynch likes the philosophy.
From the top on down, I feel like things are going in the right direction. The Glazers have brought a great energy and excitement, and they're doing things in a first-class manner. Rich is doing a great job at drafting players and keeping them here. And then Tony, Tony's a great coach to play for.
Now, the Bucs arrived in Detroit yesterday, coming off one of their biggest opening day wins in franchise history. The Bucs starting defense completely took over the Niner ball game, and they have to repeat it again today. Tony Dungy shelled out some cash for this game. He bought tickets for 40 people. Dungy grew up just outside of Detroit, and, of course, all of them wanted to know his game plan for stopping Barry Sanders after watching the Falcons hold him for 33 yards.
Whenever you play the Lions, Barry Sanders becomes the big thing that is on your mind. He's a fantastic back, and we'll have our work cut out stopping him. Yeah, we've played well at home, the last few times out. Now we've got to transfer that on the road where you can't afford to make mistakes. You don't want to let their crowd get into the game. Don't give them momentum, those type of things. If we can play our game, I think we'll do well.
Offensively, it appears that you're about 100%. Does that mean we can expect a little more potent offense this week?
Well, we're going to need some more points, I'm sure of that, and I think our offense will come around. Our young guys are starting to get comfortable and get relaxed, and that'll help us.
That's Tony Dungy on his way to work this morning. Now, right now, Trent Dilfer is 4th in the NFC with his quarterback rating, but it's kind of a strange stat, Frank, is that Dilfer's never thrown a touchdown pass against Detroit in 3 years. Obviously, something needs to change at 1 o'clock.
I'd like to do that halfway today, maybe like Doug Johnson had for the Gators
7
last
would
night.
be unbelievable.
Well, there was a time, Chip, when the Detroit Lions offense could really be summed up in 2 words: Barry Sanders. If you could stop him, you could pretty much count on winning the game. But as we go between the lines, we see, as the Atlanta Falcons discovered last Sunday, Detroit can now find more than one way to beat you.
Coming off a 5-11 season and a visit to the basement of the NFC Central, the Detroit Lions have a new coach in Bobby Ross and a more disciplined demeanor. Barry Sanders wasn't much of a factor in the opener against Atlanta, rushing for all of 33 yards on 15 attempts. But last year's NFL rushing leader won't stay bottled up for long.
I think the key to playing well against Barry is just tackling him. Whether it's behind the line of scrimmage or 2 yards down the field, you've got to tackle well. If you don't tackle well, the guy he'll make people miss, and that's where he gets his long runs.
But again, the Lions have more, as in Herman Moore, who caught 7 passes against Atlanta for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Lots of times you see Mitchell, who even if Herman Moore is covered, he's going to put it up there because he'll put faith in that with his height. Like you talked about, his leaping ability, he'll come down. And he does come down with a lot. So you got to get a lot of people to the ball and know that they're going to take the shots like that.
So for the Bucs defensive front, the challenge is to put the same kind of pressure on Scott Mitchell it did on Steve Young.
Mitchell's a big kid, so you've got to really pull him down. Else, he'll swat you off and throw the ball. But Barry's the key to that whole offense.
And if there's a key to the Lion defense, it appears to be right up front.
They lost Henry Thomas from last year's with New England now, but they have a good defensive front, and they did a good job against Atlanta.
In fact, the Detroit defense scored 2 touchdowns against Atlanta and set up another. NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Stephen Boyd, returned a fumble 42 yards for a touchdown. His 4th quarter interception set up the game-winning score.
You can't let them feed on any of your negative plays. You got to cut down the mistakes and negative plays because they really feed off that. And if you can just get them if you can get on top a little bit earlier or control the ball on them early, you can do it throughout the game. But if they start causing you to have some mistakes early on, they're going to be tough.
Which is why Tony Dungy has his team focused on the task at hand and not on last week's success.
They're still a very explosive team. They're explosive on offense, of course, with Barry Sanders and Herman Moore. But even on defense now, they're making things happen and playing more aggressively. So it's going to be a good test for us.
A test the Bucs are determined to pass after getting swept by the Lions in '96, including a 20-7 shutout at home.
Hardy surprised me a little bit, Chip, when he said now that Bobby Ross is a fullback running in that backfield with Barry Sanders blocking for him, it's almost easier to contain him because he's fallen a back through the hole, whereas with the run and shoot, it would stretch out the defense, create bigger gaps, at least in theory.
You know, they got Herman Moore, we talked about, Barry Sanders, but also another guy, Johnnie Morton, who's a free agent at the end of this year, always hurts the Bucs and didn't do anything last week against Atlanta. So, you know, he's kind of looking at
Isn't it amazing how free agents the last year of the contracts,
suddenly,
they
suddenly explode. Yeah, Morton loves playing against Tampa Bay, too. All right, coming up on Bucs Sunday, Barry Sanders, of course, as we've said, has put some staggering numbers up against the Bucs. You've just got to hear the total. And Bucs GM Rich McKay joins us live from the Silverdome. And we'll talk about Warren Sapp, Eric Rett, plus show you one part of the game that sealed the Niner win next on Bucs Sunday. That's a live picture inside the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan, where we've got a full afternoon of football for you. Coming up this afternoon at Fox 13, of course, starting right from Bucs Sunday all the way through to the 4 o'clock Packer-Philadelphia game. Welcome back to Bucs Sunday. You know, there are very few players in all of sports that are synonymous with their teams. When you think of the Chicago Bulls, it's Michael Jordan. When you say Seattle Mariners, of course, it's Ken Griffey Jr. that comes to mind. And Fox 13 sports reporter Kevin O'Donnell tells us in the NFL, when you think Lions, there's only one name, and that name is Barry Sanders.
It's a name that gives Buccaneer defenders nightmares. He's without a doubt the most electrifying player in the NFL. No other running back has amassed more yards over the last 8 years. And when he has the ball in his hands, well, he's a threat to score every time.
When you go in against Detroit, you hold your breath on every play because he can go the distance from anywhere on any type of play, and it doesn't really matter if there's blocking there or not. So, yeah, it's tough when you go against him.
And against him, well, let's just say the Buccaneers bring out the best in Barry Sanders. In 15 games versus the Bucs, Sanders has churned out 1,763 yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground for an average of just over 117 yards per game. His best game also came via the Bucs back in 1994 when he racked up 237 yards, including this 80-yard run minus one shoe. The Bucs have only held him under 100 yards 6 times, which is probably why Cadillac looked to the Bucs for footage when they decided to use, well, the Cadillac are running backs for their national ad campaign. But the one thing that really scares you about Sanders over the other backs in the league is just when you think you have him down, he's going to bust one loose.
Traditionally, he loses some yards on some carries, but if they keep feeding him, he's going to get some too. So we expect a large number of carries from him this week.
Now, the Bucs are hoping those large carries don't translate to large yards. Now, Sanders won't be the only threat on offense, but one the Bucs need to contain if they want to run the record to 2-0. The Falcons held him to 33 yards last week. It'll be interesting to see if the Bucs can hold him down 2 weeks in a row. For Bucs Sunday, Kevin O'Donnell, Fox 13 Sports.
All right, time now for From the Top. Bucs GM Rich McKay joins me live from the sidelines of the Silverdome. And, Rich, I think obviously the place to start, we just did the story on Barry Sanders. You got to control him this afternoon.
He's unbelievable. You know, the one thing about Barry Sanders that stands out in my mind is how consistent he is. Year in and year out, he's gaining 1,500 yards. He's making big runs. I mean, obviously, he's the guy to stop. As the league goes, I'm not sure there's a better player.
Rich, Warren Sapp got some good news this week. A judge ruled that the search through his Mercedes-Benz was illegal when they found the marijuana. Now you're talking to his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, about a contract extension. How does one affect the other, or does it?
They're independent matters, Chip. You know, with us, we've kind of adopted the philosophy that we would like to keep the guys we draft. We'd like to develop them. We'd like to keep them in our system, as opposed to becoming one of those teams that relies on free agency. So that's why we began the talks with Warren, and we'll keep going with it.
You were saying earlier, and I found it interesting, that it's not only the Buccaneer philosophy, but you think that's going to be a sign of the times in the NFL. Why? Because the contracts are getting that expensive, or it's time to just keep the talent at home?
I think it's time to keep the talent at home, and it's time for continuity. I think for the fans' benefit and for the team's benefit, it's better to play with your own and guys that they know, as opposed to going out and rebuilding the team every year. Now, if you're in a coach change situation where the coach is going to turn over, then all of a sudden you're going to see turnover in the personnel. But when you're trying to stabilize the franchise and you're trying to stay with that coach and win with that coach, I don't see letting your good players leave.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that the Bucs won't be shopping at the end of every season also, right?
No, it just means that when you go to free agency, you're looking to add a player or two as opposed to replacing 5 and adding 2. In other words, you don't want to go into free agency and at the end of the day have 7 new starters. You'd like every year to at most have 2, 3 new starters as we did this year.
Let's talk about Allstott and Dunn again, because Allstott finished with, 119 total yards of offense, and Dunn averaged over 4.5 yards a carry. Let's start with Mike Allstott, Rich.
Well, Mike's a good football player. The number one thing that Mike brought to our football team that we really didn't anticipate is how good a receiver he is out of the backfield. You remember in the fourth quarter he made a real big play out of the backfield, and that's where Mike's a threat because Mike's such a good runner that the second they think they're gonna have to deal with him and running, he'll catch the ball out of the backfield and make a big run. As far as Warrick Dunn goes, I mean, Warrick Dunn is going to make a lot of big plays as this season progresses. This is his type of surface. He should be very effective on turf. Warrick is a surprising kid in how strong he is in the hole, and I think Warrick Dunn will make some things happen today.
Now, in the first block of the show, we saw a little bit of an attitude change from Eric Redd, a different man Wednesday from when he was on Monday. Somebody talked to him, or what was the reason with the turnaround?
No, I think the number one thing you need to understand with Eric is I understand what he said on Monday. I mean, Eric's been the man since he was probably in third grade. I mean, he's been the guy that's gotten all the carries, that's always gotten the attention. And so I think standing on that sidelines when all of a sudden he wasn't getting the carries, that's tough. And I'm sure he went in that locker room, and I'm sure he went home that night, and it was tough to deal with. But I think as time goes on, Eric's going to understand that he has a role. We are going to get him in the game. He can be productive, and I think he's got to play within the system as opposed to getting outside of the system.
You know, one of the big keys, I think, of the Niner win last week was, I mean, when the Bucs scored, there was 9:21 left in the fourth. You know, a lot of people in the stands are still saying, whoa, way too much time left on the clock. But the offense did what they had to do late and got the first downs they needed.
Well, the one thing we should be able to do is run the football, and that's the key to us in the fourth quarter is running the football at him. And then, of course, being able to get the ball to Mike Allstott helped us. But in the fourth quarter at home, with the training we've had, we should be able to run the football.
You know, Rich, in a game like this, obviously everybody's taking a look at Herman Moore and Barry Sanders. With Bobby Ross coming in that kind of a new traditional offense, is there something that concerns you that we haven't brought up yet? I mean, what do you see as a key in this game?
Well, I think the one thing that the guy you got to watch is Sloan, the tight end. I mean, he last year missed a lot of the year with a knee. He's a pretty good tight end. And in this system, you can get caught up in the linebacker scan and watching Barry Sanders and in looking for the quick little slant routes by Herman Moore and Johnnie Morton. You got to pay attention to the tight end, though, because he can hurt you.
And Scott Mitchell obviously is feeling a lot more comfortable this year.
Yeah, he didn't have a very good game last week, but part of that was because he had missed the last two preseason games. Scott Mitchell's one of those guys that you've got to get him out of sync, because if he gets on a roll, he'll get hot.
All right, Rich, thanks a lot. Have a good game out there
Happy
this
to
afternoon.
Do it. Thanks,
Just
Jim.
ahead on Bucs Sunday, the win over the Niners made the cover of SI. We'll talk with the man at the bottom of the front cover, Warrick Dunn. And you have to hear what Detroit is saying about the Bucs going into this game just ahead on Bucs Sunday. Sunday, Michael Houston getting ready to put in a little practice before the 1 o'clock game this morning. The Bucs are on the road this afternoon up in Pontiac, Silverdome, of course, taking on the Detroit Lions. You know, kickoff is just about a little over an hour away. It's the Bucs and Lions right here in Fox 13 this afternoon. Now, the Bucs win over the Niners made the cover of SI. They're calling it the Niners' nightmare. And Steve Young still sees Warren Sapp in his sleep. Sapp had 11 tackles, 2.5 sacks, but he did not get the NFC Player of the Week award. Detroit's Stephen Boyd got it. Yeah, okay, he had 13 tackles, returned a fumble for a touchdown, and picked off a pass. But, hey, Boyd was playing Atlanta. Sapp teed off against the Niners. So was Dungy surprised that Sapp didn't win?
Not really, not the way the league operates. I think you have to be one of the upper echelon, high-profile teams to get those type of awards. So we just have to win a few more games.
Started this afternoon. After a game like that, it was obvious who I needed to sit down with in our segment Behind the Mask. I sat down with Warren Sapp, who looks to me like he has more fun than anyone on the football field.
You know what? When you got 71,000 people standing on their feet screaming and yelling and, you know, the game's on the line and we making play after play after play, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, we're just playing a kid's game, but getting paid a king's ransom at it. And so, I mean, you can't do nothing but have fun. And, you know, I just want everybody to see how much fun we're having on the field by the expression on my face and, you know, the motion in my dance. You know? Just have a good time. And, you know, when you're having fun, you're winning usually.
Warren, talk about making the cover of SI. It's got to nice to see.
Well, it is. I mean, just for all the hard work that we put in into the ball game and before the ball game in the preseason and in training camp and everything like that, for us to come out and get the season started off the way we did and top it off with the cover of SI, you know, doesn't get too much better than that.
Do you feel you're faster than any quarterback in the league, or as fast?
I feel I'm faster.
Yeah.
I mean, because a quarterback is standing dead still, and he's, you know, has his eye on a receiver running down the field, and, you know, I'm coming at him full speed. The only thing I have to do is just direct my body at the right angle, and he's not going to outrun me. I mean, I pride myself on that, and I talk too much about my speed around the guys, and if Steve Young or somebody outruns me, I can't talk about it anymore, so I just got to get him.
Talk a little bit, because you've dropped some weight coming into this season. What do you weigh, like 276, 280, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there. But, I mean, I just said, you know, I was a little heavy last year, you know, my ankle being hurt and everything like that. But, you know, losing the weight and getting in better shape will correlate into more sacks for me. And, you know, it probably has. But, I mean, I just got to keep working hard. My teammates around me just making me a lot better.
Going into Detroit, obviously, you got to look at Barry Sanders, who always seems to have a big day, or has the capability of having a big day. What did Atlanta do, and can you do the same thing that they did?
Well, Atlanta rattled to the ball, and they really got after them, and that's what we're looking to do. And, I mean, this game plays right into our hands. A fast surface, you know, indoor control climate. I mean, it should play right into our hands. And, you know, they got two-back set now, and they kind of leading Barry into the hole. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's a little benefit, you know, because he used to being back there by himself and just getting the ball and being able to go wherever he wants to go. But, you know, they're trying to tunnel him more towards the hole, and it should play right into our hands, but we still got to go out and get the job done.
A win like this over San Francisco going into Detroit, and actually you're on the road for the next 2 weeks, what kind of momentum does that give you?
Well, we just want to take our show on the road, because the knock on us was that we couldn't win any games, and then we started winning, and now we start winning at home, and now we can't win on the road. So, I mean, we just got to take our show on the road, and we just have to prepare for it just like as if it's a home game, and get on the plane, go up there, get a good night's rest, and let's go play ball.
You know, you had some off-the-field problems this summer. Does that drive you personally a little bit, you know, in terms of, I mean, I know you probably made a decision you'd rather not have made, you know, does that kind of, what does that do to you?
I mean, I face more. I face worse. I mean, and I always said that anything that doesn't kill you make you stronger. And then, I mean, my baby's about to be born. I mean, I'm about to have a little one, so, I mean, that's more than anything that's driving me right now. So, you know, my little girl's born. I mean, have a lot to show her here, definitely.
Got a name picked out or not?
Mercedes.
All right, still ahead on Bucs Sunday. What is Detroit saying this week? And better yet, do they believe it this time? We'll go inside the Lions locker room next on Bucs Sunday. This morning on Bucs Sunday, and that's how you need to get to the game in Pontiac. Get in the chopper and just beat the traffic. Welcome back to Bucs Sunday. And you know, going into a road game like this, the competition always said the right thing about the Bucs' intensity or talent level, but you could tell by their expressions they didn't really believe it. Well, that's changed. Right now, the word out of Detroit from Bobby Ross and company is that this is the best Bucs team these guys have seen in about 6 years.
I think it's going to be a really good game, and we are not taking this lightly at all. Everybody is really getting focused because this is the most important game of the season.
Tampa always plays us tough, or we always play them tough. It's always a battle when we get together. Sunday is not going to be any different.
Orange look wasn't very tough to you, huh?
No, it was just kind of feminine to me. But, you know, hey, they changed it and they're playing a whole lot better, so maybe that's what it was, the uniform.
Could be. They're wearing red this afternoon, too. If the Bucs are going to turn it around this season, they'll have to be able to do the one thing they have not had any success with over the last 5 years, and that's winning on the road. I want you to take a look at these numbers going back to 1992. Last year, Dungy was 1-7, and then the team went 4-2-6 the 4 straight years in front of it, and they haven't done much better actually playing with a roof over their heads either. From 92 to last season, the Bucs are 3-12 in a dome, and those numbers will kill the season unless they can turn it around, Frank, because, I mean, those numbers will just... I mean, if you can point to one thing as a team keeping itself out of the playoffs, that's obviously one of them right there.
And they had, you know, they had one great road victory last year at San Diego. Why can't they do it on a more regular basis? Tony Dungy wants to see that happen. And Warren Sapp said, we got to do that now.
Yeah, if they can keep the momentum going from one win to the other. I mean, because really winning is a habit. If the Bucs can turn it around like that, they can keep it rolling. All right, the Bucs offense outperformed the Niners in just about every stat category. Total first downs, total net yards, rushing. That's the key again today. But one change the Bucs want is better scoring inside the 5. They had a fumble last week, a drop pass, and the key this week is to make sure they finish off the chances they get. We do not need to see any kind of running plays with Patrick Hape carrying the football.
I agree completely. And, Chip, for the Buc defense, the obvious challenge is to contain one Barry Sanders, but Atlanta did that and still lost. So keeping pressure on Scott Mitchell is equally important. If Barry is bottled up, Mitchell can always crank it up with the passing game. Another left-hander, he's bigger than Steve Young, not nearly as mobile. Warren Sapp and his fellow defensive linemen can get the same kind of penetration against the Lions as they did against the 49ers. It could be a very long day for Mr. Mitchell, and the Bucs could end up 2-0.
Yeah, because one thing that Atlanta did, not only did they effectively control Barry Sanders last week, but, I mean, they controlled the number of times he actually got the football. They put the Lions in a hole for a while, and Sanders only had 15 carries. I mean, if you can keep him to 15,
that's it.
Better chance, obviously, of moving him out.
Although Tony says the scary thing about Barry Sanders is they tried to involve him more in the passing game. All he needs is a little flare pass, and as you know, he can break one. The other thing about Sanders historically is you can keep him bottled up for most of a football game, maybe even 3 quarters. Next thing you know, he's gone for 80 yards and a touchdown, and he only needs a little seam to make that happen.
And we were talking to, by satellite to Dungy this morning, and he was saying that one of the deals is that the first 8 weeks of the season for this team, he thinks is going to dictate what the rest of the year goes like. And when you think about, they got the big win over San Francisco last week. They've got the next 2 on the road, both in places where they haven't ever played well, obviously. Detroit on the road in a dome, Minneapolis on the road in a dome.
The other thing about the carpet, which we perceive as a Buck hindrance, Tony says it should not be. For our very quick defensive line in particular, the carpet should be an asset. They get quicker off the ball and therefore should be able to create that kind of pressure on Mitchell that they need to.
Yes, also number 28 should be able to run a little quicker on carpet than number 32.
We're talking all about Sanders. What about Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
He can do that as well.
I mean, he had over 4.5 yards to carry last week, so
nice
that's not
average.
too bad. Yeah, all right. That's a look at Bucs Sunday this week, but don't move. We're sending you right out to Hollywood and Fox's NFL Sunday. And, of course, we'll have the Bucs and Lions at 1 o'clock. That'll put you right into the Philly-Green Bay game at 4. Just a great afternoon to settle back and watch some football. We'll see you next week on Bucs Sunday.
Detroit Lions from the Silverdome. Now, one of these teams will be 2-0 after today's game. Find out who. Let's take you out to the Silverdome. Eric Clemens and Trevor Maddich.
The Silverdome should be rocking for this early season battle of NFC Central Division unbeatens, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Detroit Lions. And how do you do? Welcome to Fox NFL Sunday. Eric Clemens along with Trevor Maddich. And if you like defense, you should see plenty of it today, especially based on last week's performances by both these teams. As for the Buccaneers, they've improved every year, Trevor, under Tony Dungy.
2 years ago, Tampa's defense number 27 in the NFL. Last year, Dungy's first, they improved to number 11, and after one game this year, they're number 4. Nobody is more impressed with that improvement than the San Francisco 49ers, who blew into Tampa Bay last week and were promptly shut completely down. Less than 200 yards total offense. Tampa's defense did that with a frenetically active front 7 and the zone blitz. Here, Steve Young sees 2 linebackers blitz off his right side, so he wants to throw hot to his tight end, Brent Jones, in the flat. The problem is that Reagan Upshaw fakes a rush, comes back and covers Brent Jones in the flat. So as Steve Young rolls out to his right or his left, there's nowhere for him to throw the ball. Reagan Upshaw is in his way. Warren Sapp is on his heels. What will happen then is, because he's got nowhere to go, Sapp will sack him, Nickerson will knee him in the head, knock his helmet off, and give him a concussion.
All right, the zone blitz or no zone blitz, if they make a mistake against Barry Sanders, they are in trouble. Now, as for Detroit on their side of the ball, their defense was something else last week. 4 turnovers, 2 touchdowns.
Detroit's defense did a great job of shutting down Atlanta last week, but also they did a great job of scoring points. Here, Stephen Boyd picks up a Chandler fumble, rumbles 42 yards for his first NFL touchdown. Here, Chandler throws the ball to linebacker Reggie Brown. He runs 38 yards for a touchdown. 14 points responsible for by the Detroit Lions defense. They outscored 9 NFL offenses last week.
So 2 very active defenses set to go head-to-head. The stage is set. The opening kickoff from here at the Silverdome when Fox returns after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to the Pontiac Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won the toss. They'll receive. Tony Dungy, his second year, and the Buccaneers have been on a tear since the second half of last year. Bobby Ross comes over to Detroit from San Diego, gets them off to a good start last week. And he wins everywhere he goes, even on the college level as well. Jason Hansen is going to be set to kick off as Detroit leads the series 21-17 all time, but the Lions have won the last 5 in a row and 6 of the last 7. If the Bucs are really turning the corner, they're going to try to prove it today with a win here on the road in the Silverdome.
One thing that Tony Dungy talked about yesterday, how they were excited about beating the 49ers last week, but can they do it twice in a row? Can they come off a big emotional win to a tough dome road stadium to play in and do it again?
Carl Williams back deep to receive the kickoff. He's in the middle. He's flanked by Michael Allstott and Jerry Ellison. This will come down to Williams about 2 yards deep. And Williams held inside the 20, got it up to the 19, where the Buccaneers take over on offense behind that guy, the ever-improving Trent Dilfer. Dilfer got off to an ominous start last year. But last week, almost 58% completions, and the big key there, no interceptions. Last week against the tough 49er defense, we have a player down on the field at about the 19-yard line for the Lions. So that's the delay in the play. And it looks like Ron Rice is out there, who sees some action as a backup defensive back for the Lions and also on special teams, and seem to be favoring the left knee perhaps as the trainers check him out.
And that's bad news for the Lions, because Ron Rice will come in and spell Van Malone, who himself is ailing with a bad ankle. In practice on Friday, as a matter of fact, Ron Rice took many of the reps just in case Van Malone would have trouble. And on the first play of this game, if a key depth safety in this defensive backfield can't go, it might change the game plan a little bit of what Dilfer wants to do.
And the Lions are pretty young back there in the secondary. They don't have a lot of experience. The next guy back there in terms of years served who will play a key backup role now, Harry Colin, 7th-year man out of Missouri.
Let's see if we can see where this injury comes from. You've got him right here, and it looks like Ron Rice just has somebody go into the side of his knee. It just looks like a classic situation where you have a foot stuck in the turf, and when someone falls into you, it doesn't give. That's the biggest reason why players don't like playing on the turf, because as your feet get stuck, you can see these shoes. Okay, here's another look at it. We'll talk about the shoes in a second. But Carl Williams turns up. Here's Ron Rice right here.
Looked like he might have got leg whipped by Ben Hanks there, who was underneath him making the tackle, and Ben Hanks' legs kind of swung around and seemed to catch Ron Rice in the left knee, but he's walking off.
Those shoes are very grippy, and on grass, a leg whip like that might give him a bruise, but you can see right here his ankle is already bothering him. If that shoe sticks on that turf, it puts that much more stress on those ligaments. Players don't like playing on this stuff for that reason. It shortens careers.
Rice being helped off the field, walking slowly, favoring that left leg. And again, a key backup defensive back for the Lions.
You know what, though? It was interesting. The style of shoes that Ron Rice is wearing has those nubbies that stick out. I would wear those when the turf was slick, when it was rainy or snowy. On this kind of a dry field, I wear flat basketball shoes. Most players will, so those nubs don't give the extra grip into that turf. That way there is a tiny bit of give. I think he might have the wrong shoes on for today's field.
Trent Dilfer leading out his Buccaneers. In the I formation, Horace Copeland in motion. The pitch to Warrick Dunn, the rookie out of Florida State, bounces off tackles, gets out across the 20-yard line. Let's meet the offense of Tampa Bay as Warrick Dunn picked up maybe a yard and a half on that carry. He was brought down by Van Malone. The offensive line, a group that's been together only for the 3rd time since Tony Dungy has been here. His starters have been together. It's anchored by Paul Gruber over there on the left side. Backs and receivers, Dunn, the rookie, Allstott, 2nd-year man. Riddell Anthony starting. Horace Copeland back off an entry, and Jackie Harris, your tight end. Dilfer to put it upstairs, looking near side. Now in trouble, and down he goes. Robert Forte and Luther Ellis, and the Lion defense is active again, just like last week against Atlanta. Robert Forte is getting them fired up, as is Luther Ellis. Forte led the team with 10 sacks last year. Let's take a look at this Lions defense. Very active. Kerwin Waldrop starts in place of Tracy Scroggins, who will see some action. Ellis, Wells, Robert Forte, the linebacker. Stephen Boyd, player of the week last week, with 15 tackles and an interception. And Corey Raymond, Carrier, Valone, and Jeffries are in the secondary. 3 wide receivers on for Tampa on 3rd and long. Now the drop play. And Warrick Dunn gets back out to about the 20-yard line. And the Lion defense off to a great start. 3 and out for Tampa Bay.
That draw play was a concession to their right tackle, Odom, knowing that at 3rd and 14, he's got Robert Porcher, one of the best pass-rushing defensive ends in the league, coming off of that corner. And basically, Tony Dungy did not want his young tackle to get embarrassed twice in a row. He said, look, let's run a draw, punt it away, get our feet back under us for the next series.
Tommy Barnhart. It's a high punt. And it's going to be fielded by Glenn Milburn at the 32. Milburn looking in the near side, trying to find a wall, and he does not. Down he goes. Tyrone Leggett took his feet out from under him, and the Detroit Lions will take over on their own 32-yard line. And their offense led by Scott Mitchell. Last week, according to their coach, Bobby Ross, in a word, awful. You see Mitchell, his completion percentage only 42 touchdowns and interception, a lot of dropped balls, a lot of missed assignments along the line. They need to improve dramatically today against this rugged Tampa Bay defense. Mitchell leads them up to the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10 with the 2-back set. Schlesinger ahead of Barry Sanders. Mitchell looking to put it up, swings it out to Barry Sanders, and Sanders trying to find some room, spins off a tackle, but too many white, red, and pewter uniforms are there. Sanders may have lost a couple yards on the play. John Lynch was the first to hit him. The Tampa Bay defense, or the offensive line of the Detroit Lions, Roberts, Compton, Kevin Glover, the anchor there in the middle, Hardings and Tharp. Backs and receivers, the incomparable Barry Sanders, Schlesinger, Herman Moore, also one of the better wide receivers in the National Football League. On 2nd down, Barry Sanders trying to find some room, still finds none. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage on that play after he lost 2, taking the swing pass out of the backfield on 1st down. Brad Culpepper was there to bring him down. Tampa Bay defense active, ranking number 4 in the NFL after that big week last week against San Francisco, and Warren Sapp, big number 99, was a big reason why. 2.5 sacks last week, 11 tackles. He was active at the defensive tackle spot. 3 wide receivers in for the Lions on 3rd and long. Mitchell looking up the middle. Intercepted. Intercepted by Melvin Johnson. Johnson trying to pick up a wall. No, check that. The interception by Charles Mincy, who came on as an extra defensive back. Charles Mincy brings it back to the Detroit 37-yard line, and key turnover number 1 for the Detroit Lions.
In the end zone, you're going to see good protection here. Scott Mitchell is going to be key to the Lions' success today. He throws the ball up to Johnnie Morton, and he has Johnnie Morton. He just overthrows him right into the arms of Mincy. He steps up, delivers the ball. You can see Johnnie Morton is right there. He just can't get high enough. That wasn't good defense. That should have been a completion.
So the Lions, who got off to a pretty shaky start, their opening drive last week against Atlanta resulted in a turnover. This one against Tampa in week number 2 results in the same. Warrick Dunn on the delay, gets up the middle, has a nice hole, and gets down to close to the 20-yard line. Warrick Dunn picks up about 15 yards on the play. 1st down, Tampa.
Warrick Dunn, one of the fastest Buccaneers in history. He runs a 4.340. Of course, he's only 5'8" and 178 pounds, so if you can get an arm on him, you can bring him down. But he squirted right through the middle of that Detroit Lions defensive line. Nobody even got a finger on him. He's a guy that if you catch him, you can bring him down. He's so hard to catch.
He told us yesterday that he has run a 4.2740, and now he tries to bounce back outside after running into a pile up the middle, and still picks up about 2 yards. Van Malone brought him down, but he told us he was timed in a 4.2740. That's blazing.
That is blazing, and he's a great compliment to Alstott because he's so quick and so shifty. And Mike Alstott, the fullback, is so big and powerful. They want to get Warrick Dunn 12 to 15 touches per game, meaning between returns, rushes, and catches.
On 1st down, Trent Dilfer now in some trouble, flushed out of the pocket, and now in more trouble. Reggie Brown there, Robert Porcher there, and another sack for the Detroit Lion defense. And Porcher, though, staying down on the field, might have been shaken up.
Robert Porcher improved tremendously from last season to this as we look at him shaken up. Last season, one of the problems that Porcher had was being able to turn the corner. He did a good job of beating an offensive tackle on a pass rush to the corner, but he had trouble turning the corner and getting to the quarterback. This year, he's much, much better at turning that corner, getting to the quarterback, finishing the play.
Go down Detroit from Belle Isle, the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge connects you from Detroit to Windsor, Ontario. Porsche left under pretty much his own power, and the Tampa Bay Bucs in third and long with 3 wide receivers, 5 defensive backs in for the Lions. Gilbert looking near side, throws it a little bit too high, intended for Riddell Anthony, so they'll have to try to settle for a field goal attempt. There's Porsche on the sidelines and how he got hurt.
We talked earlier about the turf. If you wear the wrong shoes, it's very sticky. If the turf is dry, it's sticky. Here's Robert Porsche. He's going to come around the corner, and you're going to see as he comes around a little bit farther, you'll see his left ankle roll on the turf. Right there. Right there, you can see where his left ankle rolled on the turf. If that had been grass, it wouldn't have rolled like that. It would have slipped out a little bit. He wouldn't have sprained it.
Michael Husted in to attempt one from 42 yards. And he got it right down the middle. It's good. So the turnover, the interception by Charles Mincy, resulting in the first 3 points of the contest. Tampa Bay ahead. 9:57 to go in the first quarter. 3-0 your score. 41-yard field goal. Officially, it was called as Porsche trying to get that ankle taped on the near sideline. Now they get Tracy Scroggins back this week off a shoulder injury, and he'll also help with the pass rush if Porsche is hampered at all by that injury. This week on Fox, Saturday baseball game of the week. Playoff races heat up when the AL East rivals Baltimore and New York. Wild card race with time running out on Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants.
I love it that baseball has gone to this. You know, it adds so much more excitement. There's so much more to be excited about, to look for as the season rolls on. Before, you only had 2 teams from each division that would go. Now, all of a sudden, the fans have a lot more reason to stay excited once teams are mathematically eliminated from the pennant. Or not from the pennant, but from the division championship.
You a Giant fan at all from the Sacramento area?
I was an Oakland A's fan. Raleigh Fingers,
yeah.
Gene Tennis, Joe Rudy.
Joe Rudy.
I love those guys.
Sal Bando, Reggie. They had some great teams. Husted's kickoff high, coming down to Glenn Milburn at his 1. Milburn tripping on the turf and regains his balance, and now he doesn't get to the 20-yard line. He's chased out of bounds at the 17, where the Buccaneers, or I'm sorry, the Lions will take over, and the Buccaneers will try to come up with another big turnover on defense.
You know what? We are 4.5 minutes into this game, and we have already had 3 situations where people have gotten stuck on the turf.
Front line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really active last week, and with that zone blitz anchored by Sapp. Hardy Nickerson anchors the linebacking core. Derek Brooks led him in tackles last year, and the defensive secondary, Donnie Abraham, second-year man, pretty active back there at the cornerback spot. First down play, Barry Sanders, like last week, not able to get untracked in his first couple of carries today. Brad Culpepper was there to make the stop after a very short game.
The Detroit Lions, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, doesn't want to let Barry Sanders beat them. If anybody's going to beat him today, it's going to be Scott Mitchell. They're going to cram up to that line of scrimmage. They're going to bring the safeties up. They're going to make Mitchell get him out of that 8-man front.
On second down, play fake, now a rollout, and David Sloan is the recipient of that pass from Scott Mitchell. And he picks up about 6 yards on the play. Right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center.
E-Man, Steelers trying to set a good tone. Game opening 61-yard drive. 12 yards right here by Jerome Bettis. Sets up a 1-yard run by Cordell Stewart. Steelers, who never led last week, leading 7-0 here. Back to Eric Clemens and pass the steak to Trevor Maddich.
If I get one, JB,
Listen, I ate his eggs earlier this morning.
And Trevor, the former Redskin, team behind right now. There's a third down pass, and that one, too, almost intercepted off the deflection as Mitchell looked for Herman Moore on the quick slant. But 3 Buccaneers were there, and that one was almost picked off. You picked the one who could have intercepted it, Trevor.
It could have been any one of several guys. We'll look at it from the end zone once again. Mitchell is going to have time to throw the ball. He's a huge guy. This guy's about 6'6", throws the ball out there, and all that is a ball thrown behind Herman Moore.
Punt coming from John Jett. Warrick Dunn is back at his own 26, and Dunn trying to find somewhere to go, and Scott Kolakowski, one of the early men down there to get him, along with Tony Simple. So, first quarter action continuing. Tampa Bay to take over once again in just a moment. Turnover and kick a field goal to lead Detroit 3-0 here midway through the first quarter. And the Buccaneers, led by Trent Dilfer, take over 1st and 10 on their own 29-yard line. Forshea still on the sideline with that ankle. Tracy Scroggins in at the left defensive end spot, and Michael Allstott bouncing off tackles. That guy never seems to fall backwards, always forward for the big second-year fullback, Pro Bowl performer last year.
Well, that guy is 6'1", 248 pounds. He's a tough runner, a legitimate tough guy. Look at that mouthpiece he's got in his mouth now. It's a black mouthpiece, and we can see him smile. Right there. Most guys will wear a mouthpiece that is a clear color. This guy wears black. He wants you to look into a black hole in his mouth and wonder what else is behind there.
A featured back at Purdue, all of his years there, and quick strikeout to Horace Copeland. Horace Copeland back in the lineup off a knee injury which kept him out all of last year. They're saying he bobbled the ball out of bounds, so it'll be called incomplete, but the Buccaneers glad to have him back.
Horace Copeland vital to this team. The Buccaneers last year didn't have much of a speed component. They couldn't stretch the field, and so defenses were able to crowd up on the line of scrimmage. And now with Horace Copeland back, Trent Dilfer told us that he has an ability to stretch the defense that he didn't have last year. Look for Copeland to go long a lot today.
5 defensive backs in for the Lions, 3 receivers set for the Buccaneers on 3rd and 6. Dilfer steps up and finds Warrick Dunn out of the backfield across the 40 to the 43. Dunn picks up 1st down yardage for Tampa Bay.
This is another thing that Trent Dilfer told us yesterday, that he expects the Detroit Lions zone defense to play very soft and to not match up on the receivers as they come into their zone as aggressively as other defensive backfields will. He told us that he expects to be able to throw the ball short underneath and have the receiver have plenty of room to turn and run for the 1st down.
He is just so much more confident. Coach Tony Dungy told us as a quarterback, they believe in this guy, he believes in this system, and his performance has shown it. And now Warrick Dunn turning on the great speed, and if anybody can catch him, it would have been Langham. Foot race now down towards the goal line, and Warrick Dunn forced out of bounds at the 9-yard line by Corey Raymond, who saved the touchdown. And you saw an example of that 4.2 to 4.4 type speed that he told us he can flash at any given moment.
And if you saw this guy in the mall, you wouldn't think he had this kind of explosive power. He's a nice kid, soft-spoken. Here's Dunn right here. He's going to take the ball right up the gut of the defense again, and when he turns on the jets, he can go from 0 to 100% very fast in the league with Barry Sanders. Because he's so small, he can get that body moving.
Corey Raymond stopped him after 49 yards on the play, and now Michael Allstott going off the right side and plowing ahead down to about the 6-yard line. So Tampa Bay threatening again for their 2nd score here in the 1st quarter.
Warrick Dunn, such a personable guy, and also a guy of great character. Something that he doesn't like to talk about much anymore is something that happened during college. His mother was a police officer. She was murdered on the line of duty, and he took it upon himself to care for his siblings for the rest of that time. And now he's taking care of his family with this money that the NFL provides, although he told us he hasn't spent any of his signing bonus on anything nice for himself yet.
I'm sure he will do that. He's not in the ball game right now. They're going to Michael Allstott again. Allstott, nice hole up the middle. Allstott rumbling toward the goal line down at about the 1. If they give him the spot, it'll be about 5 inches away from Pater.
Once again, you'll see Tampa Bay attack the very middle of this defensive line. Right up the gut. There is nothing subtle about that. There's nothing tricky about that. All that means is, hey, fellas, we're going to get into your face. This is where we're going to run. You try to stop us. This is attitude football by Tony Dungy's Buccaneers.
And the knock, even though the Detroit defensive line is quick, some say they're very small, and the Buccaneers trying to exploit that now. Dilfer has his man wide open, and he has his tight end, Patrick Hape. Patrick Hape, the tight end, gets a touchdown. 6'4", 256 pounds, the rookie out of Alabama, gets a touchdown, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shocked this Silverdome crowd. They have a quick 9-0 lead.
This is as quiet as I've ever heard this many people in a dome. That was a great call, though, by Bobby Ross. To fake the run up the middle, where they've had so much success throughout this whole drive, and just toss the ball to the tight end. That is deception, by the way.
Michael Husted on to attempt the point after. It is straight through. Barnhart with the hole there, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers march it right down the field. They now lead it 10-0 over the Lions. Still 5:09 to go.
He is going to see Patrick Hayden, 254 pounds of him, coming at him. And instead of picking him up on the pass coverage, he lets him go by. Van Malone had coverage on that. The problem was he thought it was a run. The play-action fake fooled him, and he didn't peel off. You could see in a different view Stephen Boyd, the linebacker, coming around to cover the fullback, who actually blocked Van Malone.
Husted, low line drive kick, bounces at the 10, comes down to Glenn Milburn at his 1. And Milburn trying to find the wedges, upended out there by Rob Thomas. Backup wide receiver and special teamer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, makes a good-looking tackle, and Detroit will have to try to get back into it from their own 22-yard line. And their fans urging them on here at the Silverdome. They want some action out of this offense from Scott Mitchell and the crew. They want something to cheer about. Now we get a hold-up in play, and officials timeout on the field. And now we'll take a break. So come on back with us, see if the Detroit Lions can get something started on offense. We'll be right back.
Crowd, they look at Polaroids. They come down of every formation and every play, and that's almost like a team meeting watching game film, but they're stills while the other unit is on the field.
On 1st and 10 from their own 21, the Buccaneers come out, 5 defensive back alignment, and Scott Mitchell pump fakes, now coming deep near side to Herman Moore. Threw it up for him. He was covered well by Donnie Abraham. Donnie Abraham, second-year man out of East Tennessee State, only 5'10", but as tough as they come in that Tampa Bay secondary.
Hardy Nickerson told us yesterday that he likes this matchup between Donnie Abraham and Herman Moore. Hardy Nickerson's father passed away last May, and in tribute to him, he wears his initials on his gloves right here. It's Hardy James Nickerson. He said that his father was his biggest role model. He didn't know where, he didn't need to look any farther than his front door to see the person he wanted to be most like in life, his father.
Barry Sanders still trying to find some room, and he has simply had none of it today. Barry Sanders, a loss of a couple of yards on the play, and you can bet number 56 was in there helping out on the tackle along with Brad Culpepper.
Well, Hardy Nickerson is a nice guy off the field. I mean, he's involved in many charitable foundations, several of them with his name on it. Very personable, nice guy to talk to. But on the field, this guy is mean. I mean, he's been fined by the NFL. He spit at people. He will hit you hard, and he likes this one-on-one matchup with Barry Sanders. He relishes this.
This is his 11th year and shows no signs of slowing down. Quick slant pattern to Herman Moore. It's complete, but Donnie Abraham right there for the stop, short of the first down. So once again, the Lions offense fails. They hear it a little bit from the crowd, and they'll have to punt it away to Tampa. And Moore is favoring his ankle coming off the field.
This turf is taking its toll today.
John Jett strikes one, high punt. It's going to come down to Horace Copeland at his 20. Carl Williams. Check that, Carl Williams receiving the punt. And Bryant Westbrook, one of the first down there to bring him down after no gain. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will start 1st and 10 on their own 18.
Let's see if we can see what happened to Herman Moore here. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell right there whether his foot got stuck in the turf. He's grabbing his thigh there. He may have gotten kneed in the thigh. That's a possibility.
He did bruise a thigh in the game last week. Held out a one-day of practice, but they knew he would be fine to start the game today. Last week, the Lions allowed just 55 yards on 29 rushes to the Falcons. Today against Tampa, 8 carries, 85 yards for the Buccaneers, a more than 10-yard average, and they try to add some more with Warrick Dunn. And holding on for dear life down at the bottom of the pile is Stephen Boyd, who had 15 tackles last week.
Well, Warrick Dunn is at the bottom of that pile, isn't he? And he looks smaller than most people at the bottom of those piles. I asked him what it was like to be in front of a huge NFL defense and have those guys bear down on him. He said, you know, I played against Bryant Young at Notre Dame, so I knew he was huge, but referring to the other 49ers, he said Dana Stubblefield was huge, and Ken Norton was huge, and Kevin Green, he said the word huge about 6 times. He said that most of the time he's running for his life.
Warrick Dunn is in motion, and Dilfer on 2nd and 11 has his man, and it's Riddell Anthony on the quick slant pattern. And the Bucs, highlights for their scoring drive earlier in the game. It was set up by Warrick Dunn. On the draw, and Dunn turning on the Jets. Finally being forced out inside the 10-yard line by Corey Raymond. And that set up a beautiful play for the touchdown. Off the play fake, Patrick Haight, rookie tight end out of Alabama, his first career score. And there's Warrick Dunn on 3rd and short, watching to see if his team can convert. Dilfer to put it upstairs. Dilfer going to his tight end and favorite target in these types of situations. Dave Moore catches it for the first down.
And these types of situations have been all too rare for Trent Dilfer and the Tampa offense in the last several years. One thing that Tony Dungy told us they wanted to avoid this year was having the big mistake on first down that would give them 2nd and long, 3rd and long, have the other team's pass rushers turn loose, make more mistakes. In this case, they had 3rd and 3. This is where they want to be in a 3rd down situation.
So now on first down, got the ball at the 33. Michael Allstott showing some shiftiness for a big man. Plunges through a hole and picks up about 3.
Allstott is shifty. As a rookie last year, he was 2nd in the NFL in receptions for running back, 2nd to All-Pro Larry Centers of the Arizona Cardinals. So this guy's a big, bruising, powerful, straight-ahead runner, but he does have the finesse ability to catch the ball, the finesse to slip blockers as well. Very powerful guy. Very different for the defense to have to stop than Warrick Dunn at 5'8", 178.
And Dilfer to put it upstairs again. Going deep down the near side, looking for Riddell Anthony, who has it. But it's knocked away at the very last minute. Corey Raymond was over there to make a fine play.
Corey Raymond has had a lot of pressure on him. He's been criticized in the press. Here's Anthony. There's Raymond covering him. He's been criticized as giving up too many big plays, as being the weak link of this defensive backfield, number 31, Corey Raymond. That ball could have been caught by Riddell Anthony, but at the same time, it could have been picked by Corey Raymond. That was as good a coverage as you can have one-on-one, a cornerback to a wide receiver on a fly route.
3 of 5 are the Buccaneers on 3rd down today, and Trent Dilfer looks to put it upstairs under a heavy rush, and he had to throw that one away quicker than he wanted. He was looking for Carl Williams on the near side at the first down stick. Tracy Scroggins was one of the ones, and Kerwin Waldrop another, to put pressure in Dilfer's face.
Waldrop comes around the corner, working on Gruber, and comes right in underneath. Now, Waldrop is a nasty guy. You saw him go low. He went low before Gruber blocked him down there. And talking to the Lions, they'll tell you that the meanest guy on their team is 93, Kerwin Waldrop.
Waldrop, nicknamed K9 from his college days. And this punt by Tommy Barnhart, a high one coming down to Milburn at his 10. And Milburn shedding some tackles, but you saw the flag come in. Flag on the play. Flag lands at about the 14-yard line, and everybody indicating that it is going to go against the Detroit Lions. So another bad thing to happen to the Lions. Kenny Gant, special teams captain, and a guy who gets after it, signaling it's going to be against Detroit.
Bobby Ross has up in the locker room 18 team goals for special teams. Number 1 team goal for special teams, no penalties. They're not going to get a little lion helmet up under goal number 1 this time. Bobby Ross is a former Marine. He's big on discipline. Games in this league aren't won anymore, I don't think, Eric, so much as they're lost. If you just don't make mistakes and stay healthy, don't beat yourself, you'll win more often than not. This kind of play on special teams is just exactly the opposite way to go.
Detroit has been stymied offensively so far, especially this man, Barry Sanders, stymied again. Hardy Nickerson is out there on the hit to bring him down for little or no gain, maybe a slight loss.
They started the game, the Detroit offense, running the ball with Barry Sanders. He got nowhere. Then they backed off and had Mitchell throw the ball up. Guess what? It went nowhere. Now they're trying to come back with Barry Sanders. The key to this game, though, will be Scott Mitchell opening up the defense with his passing so that Barry will have somewhere to run.
On 2nd down, Mitchell. Now he dumps it up, and that's almost intercepted. Almost intercepted intercepted by the Buccaneers. Rufus Porter broke on the ball well and could have held on to that one, and it would have set Tampa Bay up in the great field position once again late here in the first quarter.
This is great coverage by the Tampa secondary. There's nowhere to throw. Mitchell goes back, he sets the throw, and as he comes forward on his front foot to throw in rhythm, he stops because there's nowhere to throw that ball. When that happens, as the rush starts to close around him, he has shown in the past a tendency to throw the ball to the other team. He needs to make sure he throws it to his guys when that happens and there's a broken play like that.
On third down and long, Mitchell again fires one over the middle, has his big tight end, and that is a first down and a derisive cheer from the crowd here as the Detroit Lions move the chains as we end the first quarter. With the score, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading the Lions 10-0. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages. Eric Clemens and Trevor Maddich with you as we're about to start the second quarter. The Buccaneers leading the Lions 10-0, but a good start there for Detroit to end the first quarter. They get their first down of the game, Trevor.
Scott Mitchell trying to spread the ball around. He's a quarterback that's been around. He can play under pressure. He's tried to give Barry Sanders the ball to run it. It hasn't worked. In the first quarter, Barry had 4 carries for 3 yards. He's tried to throw the ball to the wide receivers. That hasn't worked. He just completed a good pass, though, to his tight end, David Sloan. So he's trying to see where a weakness in that Tampa defense will be.
First and 10, spot the nose of the football right on the 20-yard line. Bucs showing blitz, and Rufus Porter comes in to Barry Sanders. He came off the corner on the blitz, and Barry Sanders is lucky he didn't cough that one up.
Barry Sanders might have a word with his fullback, Vardell. Here's Rufus. He's just going to come in, and 44 Vardell just misses him right there. Now, he's looking over there going, oh, my gosh, that's a future Hall of Famer that I just got drilled.
Loss of 5 yards on the play. Rufus Porter looking to regain that quickness that made him a star in his early days in the NFL with Seattle. David Sloan catches one right about the line of scrimmage. Not much of a gain right there, so it'll set up another 3rd and long for the Lions.
This is where that Tampa Bay zone blitz eventually will come into play. The 49ers just did not know what to do about the zone blitz. And all a zone blitz really is this. You take somebody who is supposed to cover the pass in the secondary, have them rush. You have somebody that's supposed to rush the passer, drop out and take their place in the secondary.
3 wide receivers for the Lions, 5 defensive backs for Tampa Bay. Mitchell throwing it deep and has a man on the near side. Johnnie Morton catches it for first down yardage at the 36.
Johnnie Morton, a happy man right now. You can see how focused and intense he is. Johnnie Morton's usually a very loquacious guy with the press. He hasn't talked that much this week to the media just because last week he opened up with 1 catch and 3 drops. And he has chosen to really focus on his play. This is the first ball thrown over there to him that he could actually get his hands on. He caught it in traffic. Good job, Johnnie Morton.
Only 7 yards with that 1 catch last week against Atlanta. First down yardage this time, Barry Sanders trying to shake himself loose. He breaks away from 1 tackle and gets first down yardage up across the 45 to the 49-yard line. Barry Sanders makes his own room on that play. Of course, he is one of the best ever because he can do just that.
This is where Barry Sanders is at his best. Here's Barry. Way over here is Rufus Porter. Now, Rufus is expecting Barry to come here, but there's so much room between where Rufus is and the sideline is. There's not a linebacker in the NFL that can stop Barry from getting to that corner. The defensive coordinator, Monty Kiffin, did a good job of keeping his guys in their gaps. Good discipline. He was in the right place. Problem is the physical talent of Barry Sanders won out.
Barry Sanders picking up the first down on that play. Quick hitter to Herman Moore. That one was a little bit high, but Anthony Parker was also there to give him a nice shot after that drop. So it'll be 2nd down and 10.
This play was a little high, but Herman Moore needs to catch this ball. He's 6'4". The guy is huge. They've got a physical mismatch with Herman Moore against almost every cornerback in the NFL. That's why Mitchell throws it high to him. He always throws it high. Last year, in the last 2 years, really, most of this offense was Mitchell Moore and Barry Sanders. So that connection needs to work in order for him to be able to spread it around today to other people.
Ron Rivers in the backfield for Barry Sanders, who goes out to take a breather. to Rivers. And Rivers gets across midfield and into Tampa Bay territory at the 48-yard line. And there's a little extracurricular activity going on down there at the bottom of the pile. Mike Compton is there.
I'll tell you,
they break it up quickly.
This extracurricular stuff that goes on between these linemen, it happens more than people know. There's Larry Tharp. You get in there, and these guys are big, powerful guys that are very macho guys. They're not used to anybody pushing them anywhere, not at 7-Eleven, not at the post office, not on the football field. And if you get up in their face, boy, they're back at you.
Lions have created 3 plays on this drive for over 10 yards. They're looking for another, and they have Glenn Milburn more than 10 yards on that play. Milburn down inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Another first down, Detroit.
Scott Mitchell does a great job of reading the blitz and getting the ball to Milburn here. Milburn, an underutilized guy last year, a lot of people thought. All he did last year was kick returns. Now, Scott Mitchell is going to drop back. He's going to see Milburn right here. Warren Sapp actually put pressure on Mitchell there, but Mitchell's a big guy, was able to throw over the top of Sapp. He's actually 3 inches taller than Warren Sapp.
High formation, and Mitchell looking deep downfield, buying some time as he rolls out near side. Has his man on the far sideline, and we have a penalty marker down. Let's see what the call is here as he found Tommy Boyd, reserve wide receiver out of Toledo, and now they have a meeting about it on the sideline. As soon as Boyd caught it and went out of bounds, the flag went flying. And they're still talking before we get the official call. We did have the preliminary signal.
Looks like they had a guy downfield. Bobby Ross was wondering what this might have been.
Illegal touching of a forward pass, number 80 offense. The receiver went out of bounds, came in, and was the first to touch. It's an incompleted pass. The penalty is declined. Second down.
Watch Tommy Boyd's foot. As he goes over here, right there. It touches the line, right there. He cannot touch the line and go out of bounds, then come back in and be the first guy to catch that football. That's a young receiver making basically a rookie mistake. He wasn't forced out of bounds by the quarterback.
So on second down and 10, Scott Mitchell noses the ball at the 34-yard line with the split backfield. Play fake to Barry Sanders, and Mitchell looking downfield, flushed out of the pocket. Now he's in some trouble. Now he buys some time and has Barry Sanders, and Barry Sanders has first down yardage, and we got another flag down on the play, and the cap is down on the sideline, so perhaps somebody illegally went out of bounds once again.
That may have happened again. That's what happens when that hat flies. When the hat goes down, that's because the ref saw a receiver step out of bounds there. That way, if that guy is the first one to catch the ball, he's reminded, hey, oh yeah, you went out of bounds.
Touching of a forward pass, number 20 offense. The receiver went out of bounds and came in to catch the ball.
Have you ever seen that 2 times in a row in all your years in football?
Never 2 times in a row, Eric. And you know something? First time, you could almost expect it was from a young guy, Tommy Boyd. This guy is not a young guy. He ought to know better than to step out of bounds over there. But that's 2 excellent completions, this time under pressure. Because Jackson came in just whipped on Mike Compton, the left guard. He came in basically unblocked. And Mitchell was able to deliver that ball anyway for nothing because Barry Sanders stepped out of bounds.
So now third down and 10. Buccaneers coming on the blitz, and that one is almost intercepted. Mitzi was about to get number 2 on the day, and that one just went right through his hands. So a great start to the drive for the Lions, making a couple of key third down connections for first down yardage, but it ends with a lot of mental mistakes.
Number 21, Donnie Abraham, is going to come on the blitz here. There's pressure, and so Scott just throws it up there. Now, he's got a strong arm, but if he's going to throw it up like that, he's really got to drill it. That should have been an interception, and Scott Mitchell knows that.
Jason Hansen has a strong leg, and this one's going to come from 52 yards away and trying to get the Lions on the scoreboard. No, it hits the upright. No good. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense holds on. Hansen hits the upright, and the Detroit Lions still held off the scoreboard. There you see it. Doesn't go through, so the Lions still trailing 10-0. The music plays, but the hearts here at the Silverdome are not dancing. Buccaneers lead at 10-0 here in the second quarter, and they take over in great shape at their own 42-yard line after the missed field goal by Jason Hansen. And we get some movement inside. Big Mike Wells makes some contact. Let's see if he was drawn off. We do have flags on the play, of course.
No, that's a quarterback on a visiting team taking advantage.
Number 95, defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Taking advantage of a quiet dome stadium. He used the hard count there. If this stadium was loud, if the crowd was rocking, they'll usually, the away team now, will usually go on 2 because his own team can't hear the hard count. They're not sure when to go. It's a quiet stadium right now. The Buccaneers have quieted this crowd, so hey, why not? Let's go on the hard count.
So this is the kind of situation an offense loves. First down and 5 from their own 47-yard line. Jackie Harris in motion. And they give to Warrick Dunn. Cuts it back. Has some room. Squirts across midfield and down to the 46. Now let's return to our Fox Television Center in Hollywood for McDonald's Game Break and James Brown. JB?
Eric and Trevor. Rookie quarterback Jim Druckenmiller may help J.J. Stokes display some of that much talked about potential 25-yard TD pass. First ever for Druckenmiller. First reception for TD by J.J. since 95. E-Man and Trevor.
Well, break up the 49ers, for goodness sake. They've got a new potential Hall of Fame.
They still have a great offensive system as well, and Druckenmiller has a strong arm. We all know that. Warrick Dunn on the draw. Dunn with a lot of room, breaking inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. Another first down for Tampa Bay, who was just ripping Detroit up on those plays with Warrick Dunn.
Folks, the Detroit Lions have a strong defensive tackle duo. They've got Luther Ellis, they've got Mike Wells, very strong guys in the middle, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been running right up the gut every time. I can't remember them gaining much yardage on the outside. They haven't even tried to run to the outside very much.
Defensive coordinator Larry Peccatello told us at meetings yesterday that we're going to wait to see how great our defense is. We have to do it every week, and they don't get Warrick Dunn down. He bounced off about 3 tackles before Antonio London finally got him down to the ground, but Dunn, a nice pickup of 7 yards on that play, so it'll be second and short for the Buccaneers.
Well, they ran that one to the right center. On the left center of the offensive line, Reggie Brown said, hey, I'm going to try to do something. He fired his gun, blitzed on through there, ran right back Warrick Dunn. Right by him.
Eric Rett, the forgotten man, for the first time in his career that he can remember, did not get involved in one single play last week and has not been involved so far today. But Tony Dungy told us there will be times where Eric Rett and his tough running style will be used. Speaking of tough running, Michael Allstock doesn't get much that time on second and short. He might have got it to the 25-yard line. That'll leave it 3rd and 3. Tracy Scroggins helped bring him down.
That is an awful lot of Detroit Lions on Allstott right there. He used to work out by pushing his brother's Jeep. That's how he would work out. So what's a Jeep? A couple of 1,000 pounds with wheels?
Easy.
There were more 1,000 pounds of Detroit Lions on the front of Allstott that time. But he tries. I mean, look at this guy's determination. He puts his head down, runs into Scroggins. Now he says, okay, Scroggins, I can't go by you. I'm going to run through you. Unfortunately, the posse arrived, and there was nowhere to go.
Buccaneers have said all week long they have to run the football to help Trent Dilfer in 3rd and short type situations. Let's see what happens. Warrick Dunn. Dunn has first down yardage down to close to the 20-yard line on another delay play.
Boy, did they go right up the middle again with the smallest running back in the NFL? This is a guy that's not going to gain yardage up the middle if anybody is close enough to stick an arm out on him. You know, not that he'll go down with an arm tackle, but he'll get bounced around more than the average back. Yet, this guy has gained all of his money here today, right up the gut of this Lions defense. This is nothing but attitude. I mean, Tampa is saying, hey, we used to be awful. You guys used to pound us. The last time we played, you beat us 27-0 in Tampa. We are back, folks, with a vengeance. That's what Tampa's saying.
Rob Thomas in motion to the near side. Play fake to Warrick Dunn, and now Dilfer looking down the middle. And he was looking for his favorite target, Dave Moore, the big tight end. But coming up to defend on that play, Mark Carrier, the veteran safety who came over as a free agent from Chicago.
Trent Dilfer stepped up, delivered a great pass that time. Had good protection. Dilfer is the guy whose confidence ought to be wrecked, but it's not. I mean, he went through some miserable seasons his first couple of years as a Buccaneer. He delivers a great ball in between the zone coverage that should have been caught by Moore. And yet his confidence, even with those difficult years, is still at a very high level.
On second down, the delay again. Warrick Dunn doesn't find much room that time. He had over 100 yards on just 10 carries so far, but Stephen Boyd making sure he had nowhere to go that time around.
Boy, Stephen Boyd is happy. We finally stopped the run up the gut. Here's Boyd right here. This time he's got his eyes right on Warrick Dunn. You can see him. He takes on Allstott. He comes off the block and makes the tackle. Last week, Stephen Boyd took command of the game. He had a fumble return for an interception, or excuse me, for a touchdown. He had an interception. Today he says, hey, they're beating us up the middle. It's incumbent upon me to stop it.
On third and long, Gilford stepping up in the pocket. Now he's going to hold on to it. Makes a nice move around the safety right there and gets the first down. Boy, did he fake out Van Malone and went to the sideline to get the first down before pushed out of bounds by Tracy Scroggins. Nice play by Dilfer.
Well, Dilfer's going to slip London on the blitz. Here's London right here, and then he's going to slip Malone on the other end. So he comes underneath there, and now he's running. Now, what's going to happen in films tomorrow is this guy, Van Malone, is going to have a hard time. And those Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to have quite a chuckle because a quarterback should not juke a safety like this. Now, wait, oh, you missed me.
11-yard pickup for Trent Dilfer on that play. Another first down for Tampa, and here's Warrick Dunn bouncing it to the outside. Dunn tried to get away, but Greg Jeffries on a nice ankle, possibly touchdown-saving tackle after Warrick Dunn picked up about 3.
He's a little guy, but he's elusive. If you catch him, you can usually get him down. The problem is, how do you catch a gnat? Have you ever tried to, like, grab a gnat or a mosquito that's buzzing around your head? It's kind of like that. You grab out there, you open your hand to see if it's there. Most of the time, it's not. They got him that time, but that's what it's like to tackle a little guy like that. Tony Dungy used to call those guys scat bats because they would scat around, you know? It was like they're little water bugs.
Tony Dungy, you don't see much facial expression from that guy. Keeps an even keel no matter what's happening on the field. And his team doing the same. Warrick Dunn up the middle. Dives into the end zone for a touchdown. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in control of this one. They now lead at 16-0 as Dunn hurts them again right up the gut.
George Diaz, the right guard, pulls around to the left and throws the key block to spring another huge hole right up the middle. Here's Diaz right here. He comes around the corner, and Dunn sees him and says, okay, George, you want to block that guy? You take him out. I'll slip this other guy. He can't hit me anyhow. I'm too small, and I'll just go in untouched.
Warrick Dunn, Coach Dungy told us, we thought he was going to be a third down Dave Meggett type back, but the more he played, the more they knew they had to get him the ball more, and he just won the starting job there at halfback, and he's earning it today with well over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. The extra point good. The Buccaneers, after the 6-yard TD, lead it 17-0.
Takes his 300 pounds right over there. And what he does is sees a lion, he sees a couple of Buccaneers, he doesn't care. He just goes and pushes them all aside. Creates a whole lot of space over there. Push the pile. Whatever you see, ream it on out of there. Warrick Dunn slipped Van Malone. Van Malone couldn't tackle him in there.
7 of the 10 plays on that drive went to number 28 of Tampa Bay, and the kickoff by Husted way deep in the end zone. Glenn Milburn downs it there. Can the Detroit Lions get something going on offense? There is hope. Their last drive was 57 yards, but they miss a field goal to stay off the scoreboard. They'll try to get back in it. 17-0 here in the second quarter. Shocked everyone here with a 17-0 lead. Thanks to that man, Warrick Dunn, and you see the story there. The future Hall of Famer, Barry Sanders, not much room. Plenty for Warrick Dunn.
Look at average per carry right there. That is incredible.
Barry Sanders, the deep back in the I formation. And Scott Mitchell throwing near side. Has his man Herman Moore, and Herman Moore picks up 8 before he goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
I figure the Barry Sanders thing is not working. Let's go to the other thing that works. You'll see Scott Mitchell start to take more and more control of this game now as it goes on. He has to, because the Buccaneers have basically taken Barry Sanders away from him. Scott Mitchell is the guy that needs to pull the trigger now. And you know what? He's up to it.
So is Herman Moore up to it. Herman Moore at 6'4", a guy who's had 301 catches over his last 3 full seasons, averaging about 100 a catch, or 100 a season, I should say. And mistakes there as Mitchell's going to try to get rid of it before he goes down, and he does. He was looking for Corey Schlesinger, and fortunately for the Lions, Mitchell was able to buy enough time to throw it away, but we do have a flag down on the play at about the 27. So let's see what they sort out here. It looks like an eligible receiver downfield. That's a preliminary signal against the Detroit Lions. So more bad stuff happening to Detroit.
Reagan Upshaw, Chidi Hawanatu are going to come around the corners over here. Ahanatu. And they're going to give him all kinds of grief. Now, this is a man running for his life. He's running the same direction that Steve Young was running.
An eligible man downfield, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Now, that man right there, Bobby Ross, that we saw just a second ago, as we look at Compton downfield on that, is going to be upset with the penalty, but at the same time, he knows that Compton was stuck in a difficult situation. Is my quarterback going to run? Is my quarterback going to throw? What can I do? That wasn't the kind of penalty that a coach will say, hey, that was a stupid penalty. That was... Now, he's going to be in the right-hand corner right there. Now, what he's doing down there, I'm not exactly sure. He might have thought he needed to go out for a pass on that one.
So with the penalty, second down for Detroit. Warren Sapp coming in, fumble. And the ball is still loose. Who has it under the pile? Detroit picks it up, but Warren Sapp came in there almost scot-free and knocked it loose from Scott Mitchell and the Boo Birds out here at the Silverdome.
Eric, they're booing on this, but I can tell you that at the bottom of this pile, now here's Warren Sapp right here. He's going to beat Mike Compton right around this corner, cause the fumble. When that ball hits the ground, folks, it is a scary time. Nobody on either team is real happy about this, because when you're at the bottom of a fumble pile and you have that ball and the ref doesn't know who has it yet, all these people right here are going to go for it. And if you're the guy with the ball in your hand, you squeeze your fingers against it, because somebody will grab your finger and then give you a choice. Do you want the ball, or do you want to avoid a compound fracture of your finger?
Well, Mitchell has that one batted up in the air, and that one almost intercepted by Derek Brooks off the deflection. And the Bulls raining down on the Honolulu blue and silver right now. The Detroit Lions run into a wall on offense. They'll have to punt it away.
All right, we've got a zone blitz now. Chidi Hawanatu is involved with this. This is one of the first times that Detroit has run this zone blitz today. That Tampa has. They let Detroit's offense get into a synchronization without having to worry about that zone blitz. Now they come to it. Almost caused an interception.
Carl Williams fields the jet punt at his 31. Williams still looking for room, squirts between a couple of tackles, and gets up to the 38. And we do have another flag down on the field at the Detroit 40-yard line. Let's see what the infraction is here.
Boy, we've had penalties, but have they all gone towards Detroit today? I mean, Tampa Bay is doing a good job of playing relatively penalty-free, although they may have
holding
their first one today.
Number 26, receiving team, while the kick was in the air, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Reggie Rusk on the holding penalty, much to the chagrin of Tony Dungy. So push it back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're in control. They lead it 17-0 late in the first half.
Shea is out of this game. Tracy Scroggins, number 97, is still in at left end.
And Trent Dilfer leading his offensive crew up to the line at their own 21 on 1st and 10. And the delay to Warrick Dunn, who spins off a tackle deep in the backfield, but Stephen Boyd holds on for dear life, brings him down after a short gain on the play.
Enthusiasm on the defense. Here's Ahanatu. He's going to loop around like this. He's going to end up tipping this pass by Mitchell. Right there. Now, that's anybody's ball. Hardy Nickerson might get it. But here's Warren Sapp. Now, this is an enthusiastic guy. Genuinely excited when his teammates get sacks, when his teammates tip balls. This is not a selfish defensive line. Ahanatu tipped the ball. Sapp genuinely happy for his teammates.
And an offense that is improving. Trying to march it downfield again behind the running of Warrick Dunn. Dunn blasting off of right guard. Gets it up close to the 25-yard line. So that'll set up 3rd and long for the Buccaneers, who have been impressive moving the ball and converting many 3rd down and long, long situations. on offense.
That's 2 times in a row that they've run in there, though, and haven't had much success. They did make one change. Mike Wells, number 95, defensive tackle, came out, and number 67, Kurski, is in his place. Both times they ran at Kurski. Both times Kurski held the point of attack.
5 of 8 on third downs are the Buccaneers. Travis Kurski in, as Trevor told you about a minute ago, and the quick slant pattern goes to Horace Copeland, but Copeland might be about a half-yard short of the first down as the ball gets over the 30-yard line. Meanwhile, the Lions signaling for timeout. They're going to try to get something going in the final 2:09 of the first half here at home, trailing 17-0.
Yeah, you do not want to go into halftime trailing 17-0. I mean 17-3, 17-2, get a safety. But when you're in the halftime and you have a goose egg up on the board and the other team doesn't have a goose egg too, let me tell you something, it's a deflated feeling in the locker room among the players.
Nobody in the NFL will argue that the Detroit Lions have some of the better offensive talent in the league, with the likes of Barry Sanders, future Hall of Famer, another potential Hall of Famer, Herman Moore. And here's one that they like in Tampa, Horace Copeland, who missed all of last year with a knee problem.
He did, and again, he has that vertical stretch, although they've only thrown it to him one time relatively deeply. You know, you'd think that they would have him running a 9 route, which is that fly pattern straight up the sideline. So far, they haven't thrown him one that way. But then again, they haven't really had to. When they run the ball with Warrick Dunn straight up the middle, when they've got Allstott, Tony Dungy has exactly what he wants. Mike Shula, offensive coordinator, has Tony Nathan next to him right here, former great running back for the Miami Dolphins, now coaching running backs for Tampa Bay. Those guys have what they want, and until Tampa Bay can stop that run right straight up the middle of the Detroit Lion defense, until Detroit can stop it, Tampa Bay doesn't have to go long. Now, if Detroit stops it by bringing an 8-man front, there's Monty Kiffin, the Tampa Bay defensive coordinator. If Detroit begins to stop that by bringing an 8-man front up, in other words, they take a defensive back out of the pass coverage, put him up to stop the run, then you're going to see Copeland go long.
Tommy Barnhart in. He should strike this punt from his 18-yard line. Back deep to receive at his own 25 is Glenn Milburn. High, shorter punt by Barnhart. Milburn takes it at his 28. Trying to reverse his field, but he is brought down. Tyrone Leggett grabbed a leg and brought him down, but we have another flag on the play, and we've been seeing a lot of those the past couple series.
Well, I think Tampa Bay is starting to catch up. I mean, up until this penalty, Tampa had 1 penalty to Detroit's 3. Now it's 2-3. They're starting to even up. Old habits die hard, I guess.
Preliminary signal, I think Tampa had an ineligible guy down the field before the punt. But it looks like Detroit is going to decline the penalty and take possession at the 30-yard line, and we're at the 2-minute warning. But official still coming over to Bobby Ross on the sideline.
Man downfield on the kick, number 53. Penalty is declined. First down, 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning. Can the Detroit Lions get something going before the break? We'll find out when we come back to the Silverdome. Dressed in Buccaneers garb and great seats, hey, buddy? Must be in the front row. I don't think so.
That's the highest altitude in all of Michigan, is that chair right there.
I really don't think he cares right now. His Lions haven't done much offensively all day long, and they'll try to get something going with the 2-minute offense here, starting from their own 30. Scott Mitchell looking to put it upstairs, dumps it out of the backfield to Barry Sanders, who jukes one guy, jukes two, finally smacked down at the 38-yard line. And Detroit running the hurry up.
And we got some awkwardness going on over there. A little pushing and shoving. Warren Sapp was over there. That's probably why. This big guy.
Mitchell again, and Barry Sanders was not looking that time.
You know what? Nobody was looking.
Coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime report, JB and Terry, and we'll bring you all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Also, the guys will have a preview of the Packers-Eagles game, all coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime report. 1:32 to go in the first half here. Third down and short for the Lions at their own 38-yard line. 3 receivers set in. Barry Sanders alone set back. And Mitchell, the quick pattern to Herman Moore. Herman Moore hangs on to this one, gets out across the 45 to the 46, and timeout being signaled by Scott Mitchell. So Detroit in business with a first down as the chains move to the 46-yard line.
You know what? Detroit is trying whatever will work. Sylvester Croom, their offensive coordinator, told us yesterday, or Friday actually, that they want to be a systematic offense. They don't want to rely as much on physical mismatches and talent with Herman Moore and Barry Sanders as they have in the past. But Barry Sanders is going nowhere because the Tampa Bay defense is filling all the gaps. The passing game is going nowhere in terms of a systematic five-step drop, deliver the ball. You can see the total yards there, Tampa Bay, way higher. There's Sylvester Croom. So what they did on that play was go right back to what Sylvester Croom, this guy, talked about as being a physical mismatch. You've got Herman Moore, who's a big, tall guy, going in against their a little bitty defensive back. You throw the ball high up in the air. If nothing else is going to work, go to what worked in the past. That's about the last thing on their list, though. If it doesn't work in the future, they got nothing else to go to.
106 receptions for Herman Moore last year after a record-setting 123 in 1995. So they beat that horse. It's a good one to beat. Mitchell looking, and he got that one up high for Moore, and Moore took a shot to the back of the head. Looked like by John Lynch, fifth-year guy out of Stanford, led Buccaneer defensive backs in tackles last year, and he was ready to pop there.
Moore's on the inside slot here. Right there. He's going to come up and in. And he's going to get free on a crossing route. San Francisco had success with this particular pattern last week. But the ball's thrown a little bit too high. And Lynch came in, hit him with his face mask right in the back of the helmet.
He's an All-America long jumper, or high jumper rather, out of college. His days at Virginia. That pass deflected away by Hardy Nickerson, who was coming up the middle on a blitz.
Hardy Nickerson. Once again, here comes Hardy. He's just going to come right on in. And he actually gets picked off there by Compton. But he gets his hands up in the air. Now, nothing is working right for Scott Mitchell. This is actually pretty good blocking. He just throws it low. He didn't even hit it with his hand. He hit it with his rib cage. You know, you coach that, Eric. You say, jump up in the air, block that with your kidney.
Three wide receivers set for the lines. Mitchell back again. Flushed out of the pocket. Comes near side. Has Herman Moore. And Moore goes out of bounds right at the first down marker on the near side. I think he has it. So the chains will move, and Detroit's drive stays alive.
Yep.
With a minute and 9 seconds to go here in the half.
Last three passes in a row.